You're watching ICENET, independently covering New York Islanders hockey past and present, bringing you the tradition and nostalgia you know and love with a modern feel. This is where Islanders tradition and pride are always our number one. Built by passion for the orange and blue. Isles coverage. Taking a step into the future by reaching into the past. ICENET. Dynasties live here.
Live on CBC, Hockey Night in Canada, brought to you by Molson, Canada's name in beer since 1786. Brewers of Molson Export Ale. Canadian General Electric, progress for people since 1882. Canadian Tire Dealers with 320 stores to serve you across Canada. And by the Ford Motor Company of Canada, on behalf of your Ford and Mercury dealers from coast to coast. The Stanley Cup semifinals open in Buffalo at the Memorial Auditorium. To some, an unexpected matchup. The New York Islanders meet the Buffalo Sabres. The Islanders came through a 5-game quarterfinal against the Boston Bruins, a worn-out team after playing 5 times against Pittsburgh. And the Islanders wrapped it up with his third-period goal in Game 5 by Clark Gillies, who had a so-so regular season and a hot playoff thus far. Islanders over Boston 4-2 in the 5th and deciding game. The Buffalo Sabres went the minimum 4 games of the quarterfinals against Chicago. And after being badly outshot in the second period and trailing 2-1, Richard Martin gets a tying goal, and that leads to a winning goal by Gilbert Perreault. Buffalo over Chicago in 4 straight. During the regular season, the Sabres beat the Islanders twice in the first 2 meetings. Then the Islanders got a win and a tie. Low scoring, as you can see, 11-8 in favor of the Buffalo Sabres. And tonight, it's game number 1 of the semifinals, New York and Buffalo. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Hodge. Let me introduce to you visually the men whom you will be listening to tonight. Calling the play-by-play will be Bob Cole. And beside Bob and beside the Stanley Cup, a man whose name is on that cup, Gary Dornhoefer. Go back to 1977 and to 1976 for the last 2 meetings in the playoffs of these 2 teams, the only 2 previous meetings. The Islanders won 2 quarterfinal series back-to-back against the Buffalo Sabres. This year, as you see, it is close, and that is the way we expect this series to go. We'll find out how the coaches expect this series to go, beginning right now with Al Arbour.
Well, Buffalo certainly has a very good skating club and a good finesse team, and they proved that this year they scored an awful lot of goals, and they were the best in the league with their goals against. So we're going to have to play a finesse game also, but use a physical type of game to slow their skating down.
Both teams are well rested. I think we have to utilize our speed, which means not to take unnecessary penalties for tripping and hooking. The Islanders have an excellent power play, and I think the difference in the 2 clubs should be our speed if we utilize it.
So Sabres speed is what they're both talking about. The Sabres want to use it, and the Islanders want to prevent them from using it. We're just about at face-off time here, and the same is true in Philadelphia. The other semifinal between Minnesota and the Flyers starts tonight, and we'll be giving you highlights of that game during coverage of the Islanders and the Sabres. Our Stanley Cup playoff coverage will continue in just a moment.
Good evening, everyone. Bob Cole along with Gary Dornhofer. And here it is, Game 1 of this semifinal series. The Buffalo Sabres at home to the New York Islanders. And Gary Dornhofer, everywhere you go in Buffalo today, they're talking Stanley Cup, especially here in this building. But this team down here to our left in the dark blue jerseys from Long Island, New York, I'm sure have other ideas.
Well, you know how the Islanders struggle through much of the year, and you always say you like to get your team going, playing the type of hockey that's conducive to winning hockey near the end of the year. The Islanders have done this. They showed a lot of moxie against the Bruins. The Bruins tried to throw a lot of muscle at them. It didn't work. That's why the Islanders are here tonight against the Sabres. And as we get into the show, Bob, we'll have the line matchups and the weaknesses and strengths of both teams.
Well, as you might well imagine, a capacity crowd, over 16,000. Here in the auditorium at Buffalo, now rising. And we join the organist Norm Woolen and Joe Byron for the Canadian and American national anthems.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free, and stand on guard, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, glorious and free, we stand on guard, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The officials for tonight's hockey game coming to center ice now. The referee is Dave Newell. And the linesmen, there they are, Ray Scapanello and Gerard Gauthier. The goaltenders tonight, and these gentlemen are naturally very important. Billy Smith there, his goals against 2.20, 7-1 in this year's playoffs. And at the other end, Don Edwards of the Buffalo Sabres, 1.75, and they tell us, Gary, that he has been very hot, just like Billy Smith of late.
Well, when you get right down to it, I think it's going to be decided in what both teams are able to do, stopping the others in their own zone.
Coming to center for the New York Islanders, Trottier with Bourne and Nystrom on the wings, and there's Gilbert Perreault with Martin and Sealing to his right and left. Van Boxmeer, Schoenfeld on the defense for Buffalo, Lorimer and Potvin for the New York Islanders. Sealing tipped it into the zone. And here's Trottier. He just cleared it out into the center ice area. Buffalo trying to go onto the attack immediately, but they've been checked at center. Schoenfeld moved it across the line. Hero shot. And that hard shot whistled just wide on the left side of Billy Smith. Hero, and with that great burst of speed, and can he ever shoot it when he's given the opportunity like you just saw? There's Martin going after it, but he is stopped by Lorimer. They get a whistle as they hold it on the board in the New York zone.
Smoking in this.
Just 37 seconds gone, Gary, and already Gilbert Perreault has shown us that he can walk into them, and when he's given that opportunity, look out.
Well, Al Arbor, he knows perfectly well that the Canadians or the Sabres' strengths are their skating. And that's something that he will have to stop, get in front of those guys, slow them down, especially not giving up that blue line.
There's the face-off in the zone, and Perreault to Martin. Martin couldn't get loose for his shot. He tried to move in. Now Potvin races down to center for New York to Trottier. Trottier put it over in front. He was spun around, and it comes back over the line. Gare tried to come up with it. Here's Perreault coming in again, but it's Nystrom. He lost it at center to Martin. He gets it back again. Now here's Potvin coming up across center. The long shot, first shot on goal. And Edwards blocked it. Just cleared it off to the right side. Back of the net, Schoenfeld for Buffalo. He's fighting for possession. It's cut right in front of the net. And John Edwards went down to make a big save. He got his arm out and made that save on the open side. From the Auditorium in Buffalo, this is Stanley Cup 80.
Water power. For nearly 100 years, Canadian General Electric has been helping turn this natural resource into electricity, bringing progress to Canada.
Don Edwards, Gary, coming up big in the first minute and 20 seconds of this first period. What a big save he made just seconds ago. Now the Islanders come to center with Merrick. Stanley parked to his right. Face off deep in the zone, and he got the draw, but right away it's back of the net. Height went after it in the corner for Buffalo, trying to move it out with the help of Luce. Don Luce flipped it back of the net, and that's Dudley over there. He was bumped. Merrick on the line, kept it in for New York. Richie Dunn going back of the net for the Buffalo Sabres up along the left wing boards. He can't move it out. The Islanders forechecking. Now it comes into the center ice area for New York. Up on that left side, it just goes across center. Height knocked it down. But now here they come again. Tonelli off in a bad angle. It went by everybody in front of the net. And Bossi's quick shot. That was stopped by Edwards. The Sabres get it finally to center, and Ramsey gets away. Craig Ramsey coming in, but offside was loose as he hit the blue line. Just 2:05 gone in this first period. There is no score. Gary, news out of Toronto today says that the proposed Canada Cup Series for this September is probably off. Well, we talked to Alan Eagleson this afternoon, and he says that the series certainly is in jeopardy. Apparently, the owners and players of the National League have said they do not favor participating in a series with the Soviet Union at this time. However, Hockey Canada had made a commitment that this country would compete. Eagleson has called a press conference for noon tomorrow in Toronto. And at that time, no doubt, he'll let us know all the facts. Coming up to the third minute of play in this first period. And there is no score. Langevin trying to move it out. He's forced back of the net. On this side, Pearson tries to move it. It comes to the line. Goring's pass down to Gillies. Gillies was stopped just inside the line by Playfair of Buffalo. Now that's Playfair back in his own zone. Number 27. Circles in front of the net. Gets away from Goring. It goes down inside the Islanders line, and Pearson hits Goring with the pass. Cutter's offside just across center ice. No score. And 2 minutes and 40 seconds gone into this first period.
Well, the interesting point as we look at Derek Smith, one of the finer forwards of the Sabres, is the line matchups. Scotty Bowman, of course, wanted to contain Trottier and Bossy, but Al Arbour moved a step to try to prevent that by separating those two guys and placing on different lines. But the first matchup, he had Lucien Ramsey out there against Bossy, trying to contain that gifted goal scorer.
So Smith of Buffalo with the draw. It goes back of the net. And Gordy Lane, number 24 for New York. The long pass too far for Gillies. It goes down the ice, and icing is called against the New York Islanders. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Auditorium in Buffalo.
You've got your sunrise, you caught a prize, you're making your Johnson. Party nights, summer whites, you, your friends, and your Johnson. Rooster tails, water trails, you, your kids, and your Johnson. Saturday nights, distant lights, you, your girl, and your Johnson.
You and your Johnson, a way of life for over 50 years.
Nearing the 3-minute mark of this opening period, there is no score.
There you notice the goal stick of Billy Smith completely in black. Whether that helps him in any way, of course, he has been a tower of strength ever since getting into the first playoff round where he took over from Chico Resch.
7-1 in this playoff series. Butch Goring comes to center ice against Smith of Buffalo. Campanello, the linesman, wants him back outside the big circle. It comes right back to Gary. Can't shoot it. He's tied up and knocked down. And back for New York. Up to center. Morrow, a long shot. Edwards stopped that. Back of the net. Ramsey out on the left side. A good play down to center. And here's Smith racing in. Here's McKechnie with him. The pass in front of the net. And Billy Smith tipped it away with a stick. But now again, Smith centered it. Right there is Sutter. Up for New York to center is Gillies. The long shot, gloved by Edwards. He dropped it back of the net. Into the corner is Mike Ramsey. The three Sabres break out of the zone. Coming to center is Smith. The long shot went right on. Buffalo changing as the play goes on. 3.5 minutes gone in the first period. Still no score in the game. First game of the semifinal series. Buffalo and the New York Islanders. And what a series this should be. Here's Van Boxmeer. Back of the net. It goes to Schoenfeld. Up to Martin, and he was stopped. Lorimer of New York from center. Couldn't move it. Martin was bumped. Hero can't catch up to it. And Potvin calmly takes it back to the net for Nystrom. Martin bumping with him. They're hitting hard now in the corners. Trottier lost it. It comes right in front of the net. And breaking out of the zone is Lorimer. He got to center ice. Knifes it into the Buffalo zone. In back of the net. Edwards out of the goal. Cleared. Here's Potvin's shot. That's blocked up the defense. Schoenfeld got in front. Now Trottier closing in. It's kicked away from the goal crease. Nystrom keeping it in. Great pressure now by the Islanders. And Buffalo Sabres forced to shoot it to center ice. They bounce it right back in. And Boxmeer trying to skate away. Hitting the line. Good speed to center. Great shot. It's the goal post. It came off the goal post. And Boxmeer really walked into it. Nearly scored, but there is still no score in this first period as Nystrom comes across center. He's bumped by Schoenfeld, who fell. On the other side, it's whipped away from Pinelli. Goes down the ice. He couldn't stop it. And a icing called against Buffalo. This is Stanley Cup 80 from the Auditorium in Buffalo. What a great save by Billy Smith that just whistled by and then hit the post.
Well, here's a good something that Van Boxmeer does so well. Even from far out, there you see the tremendous camera work there and Billy Smith covering up. But it seemed to me that puck dipped at the last second, and Smith had a little trouble with it.
Just got a piece of it. Barely. And then it, as you saw, hit the post. Close call. Still no score, though. Bob Cole along with Gary Dornhofer at the Auditorium in Buffalo as the Sabres get to center and Dudley goes in. Dudley was bumped and taking over as Pearson going back to the net. He flipped it into the corner. It's cleared out by Stanley. Kept in at the line. Merrick couldn't move it. He had a second chance and Dudley comes racing in. Scores! Well, couldn't clear it. Dudley picked it up, and he got the far corner, and it's 1-0 Buffalo Sabres.
Well, good work at the blue line, keeping that puck in. There you see it. What a good job that Ramsey does, holding the man off. And there's a snapshot. Two players converge on Dudley, but he fires it by in the far corner. But there it is, right at the blue line. Look at Ramsey, though. Just keeps that player from moving in on Dudley. And the puck goes right through the legs of Billy Smith. We saw it on the second replay.
Back to the live action, and it comes right back to the line. Pearson of New York. There's going to be a penalty. First one called of the game against Buffalo. Here it is. With a score, Buffalo 1, Islanders nothing. This is Stanley Cup 80. The scoring play, 5:23. Dudley from Craig Ramsey, and the penalty coming up.
There you saw it right in front of Donnie Edwards. Bill Height. He got the holding call, and now you're going to see a devastating power play since the return of Dennis Potvin. And they need this guy to get them going. They were struggling. As soon as Potvin got back in the lineup, he has carried that club.
Bossy is on the left side with Goring and Gillies. Potvin, and that's Pearson back to the net. That's the power play. Lineup for the New York Islanders. It's 1-0 Buffalo. Can't get out of the zone first. It's stopped by Mongrain. Always again. The shot. Whoa! Billy Smith had to be careful with that one. The leg save. Potvin back of the net. Great penalty killing by Bob Mongrain. He's number 25 out there with ceiling for Buffalo. They break it up again. And the Islanders can't seem to get it going. A minute and 23 seconds left of the penalty to Bill Height. Now Bossy dropping it back for Potvin. Potvin shoots it in. Back of the net. It comes off the boards to Gillies. Gillies trying to get it back to the line. Potvin standing there. The long pass is stopped by Richie Dunn. Up to Ramsey. He tried to break in. He was knocked down. He goes right on. He's back up on his skates. Ramsey bumped along the boards by Big Gillies. And now Bossy in front of the net. 55 seconds left in the penalty. Out to center. This is Potvin. In on the wing goes Bossy. Bossy trying to break right in. Centered it. And Goring has it off to the corner. That puts Goring back to the net. Everybody lining up on this power play. They can't get a shot on the net, though. Here it comes back to the line and out over. Potvin couldn't keep it in. 29 seconds left in the penalty. Bossy is knocked flat by Don Luce. Ramsey and Luce doing a great job killing this penalty. 20 seconds remaining in Height's penalty. 1-0. Buffalo leading. They nearly break in, but now Pearson comes back. On the left side it goes. Trottier forced into the corner with 10 seconds left in the penalty. Nystrom gets it back to the line. Pearson winds up. Will he shoot it? No. Potvin from this side. Couldn't control it. He centered it. Right to the goal tree. It's in the net, but the whistle has gone. The referee, Dave Newell, waves it off. The Islanders naturally are in, arguing that that puck was across the line. We'll get a good look at it for you right here.
Well, Potvin makes a smart play. You know it's a wrist shot. All he wants to do is hit that net. Actually, a Sabre player deflected it. Right at that position, Dave Newell lost sight of the puck. Right away, he has to call it. Trottier kept jamming. He put it in the net, but the whistle had gone.
And the penalty is over.
After the whistle was blown.
That's right. The official announcement made. The puck entered the net after the whistle had sounded. And as Gary Dornhofer pointed out, Dave Newell, when he lost sight of the puck, supposedly underneath Don Edwards, he has naturally got to call the play, and that's just what he did. Nearing the 8-minute mark of the first period, 1-0 Buffalo. The goal by Dudley. 5:23. Playfair moved it across the line. Perreault was a good 10 feet offside. We've got action in Philadelphia now. Steve Kristoff has scored.
3-on-2 break over to Leach, and Barrett takes Leach out of the play. And that allows Bernard tries to get to the puck and work it to Mikey. That's center to Kristoff. Kristoff shoots one. Score!
Okay, and here it's 1-0 Buffalo over New York. There's Martin back of the net with Sealing. Martin is bumped along the boards. It goes to Bourne. Bourne coming out for New York with Nystrom shooting from center ice, stopped by Edwards. Edwards flipped it into the corner. That could be dangerous. Morrow coming in from the line, stopping it. Martin, though, had him covered. And there's no further play. They're nearing the 9-minute mark of this first period. 1-0 Buffalo.
Well, Rick Sealing certainly gives the Sabres a dimension out there where they have another strong centerman down the middle. You look at the Sabres down the middle. Derek Smith, Perreault, Luce. Once you have that strength there, that's the nucleus to build a team around.
Okay, Gary, Schoenfeld for Van Boxmeer up to center ice, and Perreault just backhands it into the New York zone. Comes in with Martin. Martin trying to slide it in front. Here's Perreault looking for it. Back to the line, Van Boxmeer. And Martin. Oh, and a great save by Billy Smith. Can you believe that one, Gary? He came across the crease and made a second big save. Stanley Cup 80 will continue in a moment.
It takes calm, unhurried patience to brew Bradol, so take the time to appreciate it. Bradol from Molson. Take the time.
Okay, the Sabres are leading 1-0, and now the Islanders come up with a major penalty. Sealing has been injured.
It was a spearing call, Bob, on Gord Lane, and they're just helping Sealing up. He's on his feet right now. But what that means, we're going to have a 5-minute major penalty against the Islanders. Let's have another look at it. There's the shot in from the point. And there's, you see Sealing laying on the ice. And just prior to that, Billy Smith had made an outstanding save on Rick Martin. But now the power play for the Sabres. 5 minutes. You can't come on the ice if there's a goal scored. So they have to kill off the whole 5 minutes.
Gordy Lane, who drew 205 minutes in penalties during the regular season, is often a major. A spearing penalty against Lane. At 8:39 of this first period. And it's 1-0 Buffalo, and they have this power play on now. That's Richie Dunn, number 3, back of the net. Into the corner goes Danny Gare on the right side. And it's Dunn bringing it out with Smith coming to the line. Smith pass going astray at center, broken up by Potvin, and he just pushes it back. The Sabres taking their time now. 30 seconds gone in the major penalty. 1-0 Buffalo, and they're on the move now. Here's Dunn starting out. He nearly got poke checked by Bourne at the blue line. That was a close call. Perreault to Dudley up across center, going in with Perreault. Dudley to Perreault, going right in. Oh! He had the goaltender, Smith, sprawling, and then couldn't find it. Smith losing his stick in the process. But the big shift by Gilbert Perreault. He'll make you dance once or twice.
Well, that's how he becomes so very dangerous. Once he gives the puck up, he gets back into play, and you saw the pass Dudley made to him, and he was home free.
Once again, there's Perreault, but this time Goring has him taken. Dunn tried to clear it in. He did, but Potvin will shoot it off the boards to the line. It's called for a face-off in the center ice area. The Sabres thought maybe the puck did not come out. It's called offside.
Well, look at Dudley make the little pass, the pass through the middle. Perreault, which he does so well, gets in the clear. Oh, Smith. Actually, he didn't even touch part of the stick or the skate of Perreault in that play. Perreault simply lost the puck off the end of his stick, or he would have had a sure goal.
Well, it's 1-0 now. Buffalo on top on the Dudley goal back at 5:23. 3:45 left in the major penalty to Gordy Lane of New York. He's off for spearing. And the puck is in the New York zone. Back of the net. Langevin trying to clear it out. Can't. On the board. Back of the net again. This is Ramsey. Ramsey was stopped. Hit the side of the net, and Billy Smith just hangs on to it. They're doing a pretty good job killing this penalty so far, Gary. 3:27 left in the penalty now. 9:48 in the period. They're talking about this rink. I've heard players, officials, they've all talked about this rink here in Buffalo being short and small in the corners. What are they talking about?
Well, they're a little tighter in the corners. You don't really have that much room to manipulate if you get some guys in the corner. Actually, it's 4 feet shorter than most of the rinks. It's only 196 feet long. The others are 200. But that area is right in the center ice zone. You know, what a great opportunity for the Sabres here. They already are leading by 1, but they could really pad that lead, which could be very instrumental in this first game. And this is the time when they got to give a little extra.
Oh, boy, have they ever. 1-0 now as they clear it down the ice, and Buffalo have to come back. 3 minutes, 15 seconds left in the major penalty. Buffalo having all kinds of trouble organizing on this power play. They seem to be relaxed, as if it'll happen itself. Well, there's Ramsey going in back of the net to the right side. But Van Boxmeer comes this way for Perreault. Up to center on the wing. It's cleared in. Too far for Schoenfeld, and it's called. And they'll bring it back to the Buffalo zone. Again, we go to Dan Kelly at Philadelphia.
Hill back of the net, trying to get it to Clark. Greg Smith had him tied up. Now Clark to Daly at the right point. Daly moving in. Shoots. Velasquez, save, rebound. They score! Al Hill!
Back live in Buffalo at the Auditorium, where the Sabres have jumped on top of the New York Islanders 1-0, just past the halfway mark of this first period. Bob Cole along with Gary Dornhofer in this first game of the semifinals. And we'll be bringing you all the action as it develops in Philadelphia. Here's Perreault. Pass jumped away. Dudley has it now. Dudley circles back in front of his own net. 2.5 minutes left in the major penalty to Gordy Lane of New York. Here's Perreault, ever dangerous. The shot fired right on, and Billy Smith stopped it. Into the corner, Lorimer trying to move it out. Henning helping him, but the Sabres have it. There's a pass by Perreault, and that's taken away by Henning, and he shoots it down the ice, and now 2:10 remaining in the major penalty. So the Islanders have done a great job against Buffalo's firepower while they had the man advantage. They still have it for another 2 minutes as Dunn shoots it in. Here's McKechnie coming and looking for it. He's bumped right away by Lorimer. And into the corner goes Henning. He couldn't move it out. The Sabres keep it down, gets a shot, and that's deflected up high. Going after it again. The Sabres. Smith just kicked it in. Comes right back to nobody on this side. And it'll be cleared away by Trottier. 1:30 left. Here's Trottier going in. Couldn't get a shot by Gare. Back for it is Craig Ramsey. Back of the net he goes, dropping it there. Now the Sabres, led by Smith, to the line at center. Smith on the boards. It's in back of the net into the corner. Gare going in after it. Trottier watching him. Again, Ramsey gets a chance to make a play. Ramsey all the way back to the line. Schoenfeld shot. It's tipped away from the goal. And cleared down to Trottier. He couldn't control it. And now 1 minute left in the penalty. Back for Schoenfeld as the Islanders are changing. Schoenfeld drops it. McKechnie along the blue line. Gets it handed back to him. McKechnie tried to drive for the net, and he was stopped by Langevin in the corner. Again, it comes back in front, another drive, and Billy Smith kicked out his leg and made a great save. Sealing, another chance. Back for Schoenfeld. Orsini lost it, a break for Bourne. He's all alone, Sealing trying to catch him. Scores! Bourne breaking away, and I'll tell you, Gary Dornhofer, this is a tremendous turn of events. 30 seconds left in that penalty, and Bourne gets a shorthanded goal. It's all tied.
Well, you notice it happened way at the other end where only one defenseman was back, and it wasn't even a defenseman, it was a forward. But look at the shift Bourne makes with his speed. The right-hand point man, look at that. Nobody else covering up.
Bob Bourne.
Schoenfeld was the man that was back there, but nobody on the right point. And Bobby Bourne, his 6th playoff goal.
9.
That's an unassisted goal for Bob Bourne, and a big play in this game.
13:09, the time of the goal. 23 seconds left in the major penalty. Tulane of the New York Islanders, the Sabres. Ramsey, a shot, and that's off the shoulder. It comes right back in front. And Sealing just couldn't make contact properly for a shot. They're trying to get a whistle in the corner. Sealing went in after it and poked it loose. Back of the net for Martin. It comes back to the blue line. Van Boxmeer's shot right on the goal post. I can't believe it. That's twice tonight that Van Boxmeer's had a shot go off the post. Live from the Auditorium in Buffalo, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Now, from Everready, the Energizer, energy source of the 80s. When ordinary carbon batteries are dead and gone, the Energizer lives on. In toys like this, the C-size Energizer runs 790% as long as ordinary batteries. 790% for this new electronic world. The Energizer. The Energizer. Energize. For life. Longer life.
In the first intermission, I'll talk to Sabres captain Danny Gare. We'll hear the comments of Minnesota goalie Gilles Belloc following the North Stars' big 7th game victory over Montreal, and Don Cherry's Coach's Corner returns for the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Okay, Dave, 6:18 remaining in this first period. The score is tied at 1. And the Islanders have killed a major penalty, and for little insurance, they've scored a goal. Short-handed goal by Bourne. Score tied at 1. There's Goring going after it in his own zone. Van Boxmeer keeping it in, but a little too high. Went over the glass into the crowd. Van Boxmeer now has had 2 posts in this first period.
Well, he certainly has the ability to shoot that puck so hard. But, you know, killing off that penalty gives the Islanders such a big lift. And not only killing it off, but also scoring a goal. And, you know, on that power play, only one man was back on the point. That was Schoenfeld. And he lost the puck, and that resulted in the breakaway. Smith tried to catch up. Bourne showed tremendous balance there to hang on to that puck, even though he was checked from behind. There you saw the shift. Unassisted goal.
And now only 6 minutes and 2 seconds away from the end of the first period. It's been rather tight checking, though. They've been breaking out in spots, but they're trying to be very careful of one another. They respect each other.
Absolutely. Also, Bob, you notice anytime a guy goes in and leaves his point man, it's up to somebody else to pick up that spot. The Sabres failed to do this, and it resulted in having a goal scored against them.
Well, Sealing made a great effort to get back, but just could not catch Bourne. Ready to drop it in. There it is. And it comes all the way back into the Buffalo zone. Dunn from center. He had a leg with it. Height then fed it into the zone, and Smith is back of the net stopping it. It's cleared by Potvin up along the boards, but the Sabres are forechecking. Height slides one through the crease. It comes over on this side, and Bossy, a long pass down to the left wing, and Tonelli breaking in, dropping it back. And Merrick was tied up, but it comes to the side of the net. And Edwards taking no chances. He falls on it right away. Put his glove down. They have a few words, Potvin and Dunn, but nothing develops.
Well, that's a big job for the Buffalo Sabres. Watching Mike Bossy, we all know he can score goals, and you just can't leave a guy like that laying around that slot area. So somebody that is one of the best checkers in the league, in Ramsey, he's got his work cut out for him, and I know that's all he's thinking is, where is Mike Bossy? And just stay on him every chance that he gets.
51 goals during the regular season.
He's accustomed to doing that.
Oh, brother. No problem. 50 goals or more. Bossy has always been very sharp around the net. Let's see what happens on this play. Tonelli falls, can't set it up. Bossy handed in the slot, waiting for a possible pass out. The score is tied at 1 with 5:20 left to play. In this first period, a long pass too far for Luce. Down the ice. This will be icing again as Morrow is back to touch it. That's Morrow, Ken Morrow. And what a great find he has been for this New York Islanders team. Gold medal winner, as you see, for the United States at Lake Placid. But that's all in the past now. He's looking for silver now. The silver of the Stanley Cup. And you never know. What a year that would be. Well, then on the other side, you have Mike Ramsey.
That's ironic that they both play against each other now after being teammates.
5:13 remaining in the first period. The Inks have scored a goal. Buffalo first, and then the Islanders. But the Islanders had a real sting to it. They scored while shorthanded, killing off a major penalty to Gordy Lane. And Bourne broke away. It's over the glass into the crowd. That stung the fans, too, here at the Auditorium. You can see them sit back a little bit now. They were roaring for a while.
They have suddenly become very quiet. I like that Goring, though. You know, a lot of teams used to key on Trottier's line. Now with Goring at that center ice position, that gives them another line with Gillies and Sutter that can certainly score some goals.
Gary, since he came from L.A., the Islanders have an impressive 15-2-4 record. That's not bad. So he's a big cog in this machine for the New York Islanders. No question. There's Gordy Lane back to the net. Lane on the boards, up on the right wing, and Sutter's long pass for Gillies. He had to stop to wait for it, and then he backhands it into the Buffalo zone. Sutter couldn't come up with it. Goring tried to keep it in and did. But now, here's Mike Ramsey feeding it ahead for McKechnie. That's too far. 4.5 minutes left in the opening period as Ramsey feeds it into the New York zone. Back there is Lane again, and he played it off the boards down the ice. Coming back for it is Playfair. Playfair back to the net for Buffalo. 4:20 left to play. In this first period, McKechnie gets away. A two-man break. Now he's going in with Smith and Ramsey. Ramsey shoots. A great save. Rebound. There it is. Comes right back. Another shot off the crossbar. They finally put it in. Wait a minute. Dave Newell, the referee, is right there, and I believe he pointed to the big circle to the right. The red light did not go on, but the Sabres have incredible luck in this first period. Crossbar, post, and you name it. No goal. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Auditorium in Buffalo.
Patch roof leaks the easy way with Tremco Instant Patch. Use it in almost any weather to stop leaks on roofs, chimneys, and gutters. Instant Patch's exclusive formula of glass and organic fibers dries to a tough membrane that seals holes up to a 1/4 inch in diameter. Tremco Instant Patch by the makers of Tremclad, Canada's #1 rust paint. Look for Instant Patch and other fine Tremco products in this Tremco Home Maintenance Center, wherever you buy paint or home care items.
There's Alf Jones, the minor official. That's the goal judge from Toronto you see there behind the net. Put on a spot for a second, but they're used to it. Lorimer flipped it back of the net, and Bourne couldn't move it out. Van Boxmeer, another shot, kicked out by Billy Smith. It comes to Nystrom. Nystrom's pass across his own line. Here's Bourne. He flipped it into the Buffalo zone, wide of the net. Trottier tries to center it, stopped by Edwards. And now Martin looking for some skating room. Couldn't find it against Howitt. Lorimer for Nystrom. 2 head fakes. He nearly broke through, but Schoenfeld picked him up and cleared it back into the center ice area. Now the Islanders are offside, and it's called with 3:29 left in the opening period, and the score tied at 1.
You know, that was a great rush that the Sabres had there, a 3-on-1, and I believe it ended up with another crossbar hit there, Bob, and so that's 2 goalposts and a crossbar. You know, each team will get a lot of scoring chances, or some scoring chances, but the Sabres, they have to start capitalizing on some of their real good ones, and they've had excellent chances.
Big breaks in this game so far have gone to the Islanders. Schoenfeld from center, lifting a high one into the corner. Potvin takes over, a pass, hit a skate in front, and Martin fell before he could find it. Trottier just didn't see it. He hit a skate. Lorimer for Trottier. He's covered immediately. Hero dropped it at the line. No one there but Lorimer of New York. And he shoots it into the Buffalo zone with 3 minutes left in the period. Long pass in on the right side, goes sliding down the ice. And Potvin is taking his time, lumbering back for it. That'll give the Sabres more opportunity as they were changing. With a play moving to the line, they keep it in. Loose, a pass to Ramsey, back to Loose. Backhand shot stopped by Smith. And he takes no chances and cradles it outside the goalpost against the mesh. 2 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in the first period. It's 1-1. Dudley scored at 5:23 for Buffalo, and then Bob Bourne got a break while his team was shorthanded and killing a major penalty to Gordy Lane, and he went in all alone to beat Don Edwards, and he tied it. Face off to the left, it goes into the corner. Dudley went in quickly, pinned his man on the boards, and there's no further play, so they're checking closely now. Weeding out the final minutes of this first period. 2:38 left. There's Merrick. Wayne Merrick. He's been around, and he's been a big help to the New York Islanders. What they call a journeyman. No great star, but he'll put in a good night's work for you just about each and every night. Langevin going back in his own zone on the boards. It hit a leg and goes down the ice. It hit Height, who goes back for it now. And he picks it up, fed it right in front of Bossy, scores! You cannot do that. A bad play by Height of Buffalo. Bill Height came back, circled. I don't know what he was thinking about, Gary. Passed it in front, and who did he pick? Mike Bossy.
Well, we talk about the mistakes made in that zone. By golly, anytime you throw it across the ice, you better make sure that one of your men has it. Of course, Bossy, something that he does better than anybody else when he gets an opportunity. Watch out, and he makes no mistake and pumps it home. We're going to have another look at it. There it is, right up the middle, and oh boy. Bossy just
scored by number 22.
Picks the corner, and away it goes. That's another unassisted goal.
17:42 the time. Mike Bossy unassisted, and oh my. The New York Islanders get 2 big jumps inside the line, and especially on that one, you send Bossy in alone, Gary, and he is not likely to make a mistake. Now the Islanders leading 2-1. Tonelli played it into the Buffalo zone. And it comes off the boards to Don Luce, out to center with Dudley trailing. So is Ramsey. Luce going into the corner, centered it by in front of Billy Smith. A shot by Dunn right in front, and they missed the far side again. Luce got it off the boards, and he hurried the shot and went by everything. It's cleared back in front of the Islanders, cover up, and Pearson lugs it up to center ice with 1.5 minutes left in the period. Bossy sidestepping a check thrown by Dunn. Couldn't pick it up, though. The Sabres move it out to the center ice area. Morrow nearly gave it away to Don Luce. Now Gordy Lane. A long shot into the corner to the left of Don Edwards. Dunn going back against Big Gillies. Gillies ran into him. It goes loose to center. Back to the line. Here's a shot by Lane, and that's blocked, and the Sabres get away. McKechnie is trailing Gare, but Gare took the shot away wide with 1 minute left of the period. They knock it into the corner. It comes loose for Gare. Gordy Lane went after him. They're trying to get a whistle. McKechnie going in, still fighting for it, and it's still loose. Now Goring put his skate down on it, and they get a whistle. Finally, play is called, and a face-off in the New York zone. Now let's get a report on the Philadelphia-Minnesota game. Here's Dan Kelly at the Spectrum, where it's 3-3.
For Philadelphia. Into the Minnesota zone. Gets it to Prop in front. Linseman scores! Kenny Linseman. And Philadelphia quickly has the lead.
Well, Kenny Linseman giving Philadelphia the lead. So a lot of goals in that series in the very first period. And here it's 2-1 the New York Islanders over the Sabres with 46 seconds remaining. Smith for Buffalo with the draw, but Morrow was there to hop it up against his defense mate. It comes loose back in front. It's cleared off the boards, but not out. Kept in by Mike Ramsey. McKechnie centering it to Gare. Gare getting set. He waited too long and then couldn't shoot it. 30 seconds left in the period. Great chances by Buffalo, but they're unable to solve it in front. All their problems. Trottier lost it. McKechnie comes back out with Gare. Winding up for the shot at hit Lane. Comes back to him, and the weak shot. Billy Smith tipped it away. Trottier scooped it back of the net with 10 seconds left in the period. It's cleared out along the boards on the left side and then dropped right back to Lane. Lane, with 2 seconds left, will kill the clock to Goring. And there's the horn ending the first period with the Buffalo Sabres jumping out to a 1-0 lead, but then a shorthanded goal by Bourne, and then a big break. Bossy picked up an errant pass right in front of the net, and he went in alone. And so the score at the end of the first period, the New York Islanders 2 and the Buffalo Sabres 1.
My first fish, 7 pounds or 3.175 kilograms. Jack, I need a picture.
Oh, yes. Hey, let me take this. It must be so heavy. You've carried it around all day. Let me get you a cold egg.
Right up there, kid. Hang on. Okay, and... Hey, lovely. Let me have shirt on. It's a big fish, guys.
Jack, take one of those.
The fish is important. Come on, it's my fish. Come on, let's go. Hey, we got it. Hey, Kitty. Hey, thanks.
For years, Jeans wanted to share a little fishing and a little Molson Export Ale with the boys.
All right, this will go down in history as the first picture of a monkey holding a fish, right?
Come and get it, boys!
Molson Export Ale.
I didn't even open my beer.
It keeps on tasting great.
Quaker State helps cars last.
It's true. If you look after your equipment, it's going to last. That's why we use Quaker State motor oil on our farm. In our equipment, trucks, in my snowmobile, in our four-wheel drive, winter and summer. We take care of our equipment with a lot of help from Quaker State. It's the best-selling motor oil in North America. Quaker State says their motor oil helps cars last. And I think they're right.
If you were designing your own lawn tractor, you wouldn't cut corners. You'd design it to last with more features than bargain machines. Rugged, precision-engineered components, giant mowing capacity with bagging option, and a safe, comfortable ride. You'd design a John Deere 108 or 111. A lot more machine for your money. John Deere lawn and garden tractors with full dealer servicing. Remember, nothing runs like a Deere.
The Islanders trailed 1-0 after Rick Dudley put Buffalo in front, but then New York came back on the shorthanded goal by Bob Bourne, and the go-ahead goal was by Mike Bossy. Buffalo outshot the Islanders 14-9, but that didn't mean too much in the end, and epitomizing Buffalo's frustration in that first period with more chances, but no luck was Captain Danny Gare, who hit a crossbar, I believe, and it was just one of those periods. I guess that's what you're saying to yourself.
It was, you know, we just got to come back harder. You know, they got some breaks, and we didn't get any, and now, you know, we have to work a little harder to make some.
Danny, did the fact that the Canadians aren't here and the Islanders are disrupt your plans at all?
Well, you know, we kind of expected the Canadians, but as it is, Minnesota turned to, you know, beat them out, and now we have to play the Islanders. But, you know, it doesn't matter who you play. Come playoff time, you have to beat them. So, you know, we were expecting Canadians because I think they were favorited, but as it is, here we are against the Islanders, and we just had to prepare against them.
Might have been a very different series, Buffalo-Montreal, as opposed to this one. You've played Vancouver and Chicago, two teams that in some ways can be compared to the New York Islanders. I wonder in what ways the Islanders are different than the teams that you've played before.
Well, I think the Islanders have a little more depth than the teams that we played earlier as Chicago and Vancouver. They have three strong lines. Their goaltending is very hot right now, and they've got some good, strong defensemen. You know, with Potvin back now, he's playing good hockey. So I think, you know, they're the type of team that has good balance, and they're strong all the way through.
The Sabres are the most rested team in the semifinals. Is 8 days too much of a layoff? Can it be?
Well, we hope not. You know, we worked hard all the time. We had good scrimmages. Roger kept us sharp as far as the practices were concerned, but it's tough when you haven't played for 8 days, and, you know, as you see, we just weren't sharp out there in certain occasions, and you know, it took its toll. But I think, you know, we'll come on the second and third period.
You don't see many single major penalties, which give one team a 5-minute advantage. And I wonder whether you press a little bit, realizing that, hey, we got 5 minutes to score 1 or 5 or however many goals, and that starts defeating you in the end.
Right. I think the main thing to do on a major penalty like that is just to take your time and get the power play set up in their zone and work it around I think we just started running around a little bit too much, and we got excited when it was in there, and instead of setting up properly and the way we practice and the way we were, normally do. But I guess sometimes psychologically when you have 5 minutes, you're saying to yourself, well, let's see how many we can get, and it turns out you don't get any, you get one against. But we'll turn it around.
The line matchups in the first period had you against Clark Gillies. A comment on Mr. Gillies?
Clark and I go back quite a ways. He's a fine hockey player. I played against him quite a few times in junior Calgary and Regina days. But he's a good, strong player, and he goes up and down, and you just have to work hard against him.
Do you anticipate it being that way throughout the series?
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be a good, tough series. But I think we know that we have to check each other and stay close to each other because at any given time, either one of us can put the puck in the net.
That is true. Danny Gare, thank you very much, and good luck the rest of the way. The captain of the Sabres, Danny Gare, coming up next. An interview done by Dick Irvin after the 7th game, Minnesota-Montreal, with North Stars goaltender Joe Milage, as Stanley Cup 80 continues in just a moment.
What makes Seiko the world's best-selling quality quartz watch? The ultra-thin elegance of Seiko's classic styling? Or is it the rich perfection of every brilliant detail? Or Seiko technology that created the first analog quartz alarm? What makes Seiko the best-selling quality quartz watch? Maybe it's simply the best. So give him Seiko, first in quality quartz, time after time after time.
When it comes to fuel economy ratings for North American-built cars, Ford is #1 in more ways than one.
Mustang.
And Capri.
The #1 6-cylinder sports cars.
Rated over 30 miles per gallon.
Fairmont.
And Zephyr.
The #1 midsize cars and wagons.
With 6-cylinder manual powertrain. Also rated over 30 miles per gallon.
Better than Valari.
And Malibu and Le Mans wagons.
And don't forget us. We're the best van.
And the best pickup for fuel economy ratings, too.
Ford, #1 for fuel economy ratings in more ways than one.
This is the Schick Ultrex, the ultimate razor.
We interrupt this commercial to introduce the new Ultrex Trial Razor. Same pivoting head to keep the twin blades at just the right cutting angle. Same exclusive push-button cleaner to push soap and stubble out from between the blades. But the Ultrex Trial Razor costs only $1.99 or less. So hurry, this offer is for a limited time only.
For close, smooth shaves like never before, Schick Ultrex.
And Ultrex Trial,
the ultimate razor.
In the late 1950s, banks weren't in the business of promoting small personal loans. Then one bank made it their business. The bank was Scotiabank, and they're still giving credit where credit is due. If you could use a little help with your dream, whatever your dream, see Scotiabank. They've got everything you need.
Number 27 was a big number for the Minnesota North Stars. It belonged to Gilles Malache. It's on his underwear just a few minutes after they have eliminated the defending champion, Montreal Canadiens. Gilles, congratulations. 10 years without a playoff game, and now this. How do you feel?
Well, thank you very much. It's quite a thrill. All those years I wanted to play in the playoff, and I couldn't expect being that big of a thrill just winning a series. It was great against Toronto, but beating Montreal in my own backyard is just, what more can I ask for?
The last game was just tremendous, the last couple of minutes before the series-winning goal was scored, but just before that, in the third period, you made a save off Mark Napier. I think we're going to take a look at the play. Napier made a super play to get to where he was, to shoot on you, and you made the stop.
He made a hell of a move here at the blue line, beating Paul Schmier clean. Then he kept going in. He's so good with the puck, you never know what to expect. Then he cuts inside, and Maxwell thought he was going to shoot. Then there he's in the clear and let a quick shot go. I thought he was maybe going to walk in a little more, and fortunately I got my pad on it.
The spirit within your ranks, there must have been something building when you realized, especially after those first two games, that yes, you maybe could beat the Montreal Canadiens.
Well, for sure. We didn't know what to expect coming in this building, especially we never won here the last couple of years. Then winning the first game and the second game, we said, geez, we can beat them. And they came back a lot stronger than we expected and took the next three from us. And we said, well, our back is against the wall. Go out there, give 100%. We don't know what can happen. And best thing happened, I guess.
Very quickly, do you think you played a best game of the seven? Your best game, do you feel?
Maybe the second game here in Montreal. They came out really strong after losing the first one, and you know, I was lucky there again. Just everything went right for me.
Gilles, there hasn't been a goaltender a long time. Come in and beat the Canadians 3 out of 4 on their home ice. Congratulations to you and the North Stars. Just a great effort.
Thank you very much.
Gilles Meloche of the Minnesota North Stars. Now, back to Dave Hodge.
Well, things not going quite just right for Gilles Meloche in the first period at Philadelphia tonight. It is just over, and the Flyers have a 4-3 lead over the North Stars. A strange sort of a period. Philadelphia had been playing excellent defensive hockey, backed by Pete Peters in goal, and you have seen what Meloche has done against Montreal. 7 goals in the first period between the Flyers and the North Stars. Don Cherry's Coach's Corner is up next as we'll return to the Stanley Cup playoffs in just a moment.
The Mach 2 by Arrow. A tapered shirt that fits you perfectly, because only the Mach 2 is tailored to the contours of your body, with a dart here and here. Has sleeves the length you choose, and if you wish, a patented marked collar. The only collar shaped to fit the cone of your neck. That's the Mach 2, the perfect tapered shirt. Fittingly made only by Arrow.
When your rocker's off its rocks, or you just lost your socks, stick with the pages. When you're going down to sea, when you can't find your key, stick with the pages. You can mend a broken heart, so it doesn't come apart. If your house has had enough, if you're building new stuff, stick with the pages. It sticks for ages, and the pages will stick with you.
Putting in more gas and putting out more money? Maybe your car needs a tune-up with fresh Champion spark plugs. They can improve fuel economy. It's like getting more gas in your tank and more money in your bank. Fill her up with fresh Champions.
What's it take to brew a great light beer?
Join the movement to light.
It is quite fitting, after hearing from Minnesota's Gilles Meloche, to turn things over to our resident Hockey Night in Canada coach, of course, officially the coach of the Colorado Rockies, Don Cherry, to talk about goaltending in the playoffs.
Tonight on Coach's Corner, we're going to talk about goaltending. If you don't have goaltending, you got nothing at all. You know, Jim Craig made Herb Brooks look like a genius, just the way Jerry Cheevers used to make me look like a genius. They were outshot 38-16, USA wins. But tonight we're going to show you 3 young dandies in the National Hockey League. We'll start off with Paul Matier. Paul Matier is what we call a flopper and a guesser. But the funny thing is, he usually flops and guesses right. Now look at, he flops down, nice save. But look at him, he's on the way up again. He's ready. Now, the next one we're going to show is Edwards. He's a little different. He plays the angles, got a good glove. He's what we call hang tough goalie. Now look at, he's got his eyes on that puck. He's not going to flop. Nice save, down and up. Next one is Heron for Canadians. Now look at him, he's all set in the angle. Look at that glove, look at that left glove now. He'll get it set. The puck hits the stick up into his glove. He's always ready all the time. You have to be like that. But tonight I'm going to show you the best of all, I think anyhow, is Jerry Cheevers, the old master. Aggressive, takes the body, 62 minutes in penalty, he's beautiful. Now watch him on Anderson here. Takes him out, knocks him in the corner. You're lovely. Here's Anderson again. He's got to be talking to himself here. 2-0, he still gets him. Look at that stick. He uses the stick. You don't see it too often now. They don't use their stick. Here's his angle now. He plays the angle nice. Watch the angle. He does it all. Bingo. Lovely angle. Down, smothers it. Out. That's the name of the game for goaltender. Watch him here now. He gives a little showbiz here. And this is his glove. So he's done it all. He's out. He's got the angle. There's it. Love him. Love him. He's beautiful. Well, he made me a lot of money. Little showbiz here now. Watch him. Again, he's out. Doesn't like those high ones, though. Up in the air, he could have caught it. He just wanted to give a little throw. I'll tell you, Jerry Cheevers, to me, is the way goaltending should be played. He's out, out, out. Remember that. You've got to be out. To be a good goaltender, Paul Matier is the same way. I love him. Now, let's take it again. Let's show them all again. He's beautiful. I'll keep saying it, but he is. Here he comes again. That's Mike Milbury. Sorry, Mike. See the stick? He told me if I can't get the puck, I'm bloody well going to get the guy. And he usually gets one or the other. 2-on nothing. He's out again. This guy can't go anywhere. He can't pass it. He's got him cut off. Nice rebound for his defense coming in. Here he is. Far side. Zingo. Now look at that nice rebound. It's not flying out front. It's not in the corner. Cover up. Thank you very much. Nice face-off. Watch that hand. Quick as a cat. "39 years old, tough, comes out. What a spirit. He's a leader on the team, I'll tell you that. That's the way you got to have goaltending. You know, he handles the puck so good, takes the body so good, he's like a 50 fenceman out there. You know, there he is right there, all tanned up. Probably just came from the track, made a lot of money. Jerry, if I have another year like I had last year, you better give me a job. To me, if I had to win one game, it'd be Jerry Cheevers. And that's it from Coach's Corner.
The only part of goaltending Don Cherry did not refer to is something that Jerry Cheevers knows very well, and so does Billy Smith after the first period. The goalpost and the crossbar can't hurt you. They can really help you. And this finds the Islanders in front of Buffalo by a score of 2-1. Let's now rejoin Bob Cole and Gary Dornhofer.
Right, David. Rick Dudley opened the scoring of this hockey game, giving Buffalo a 1-0 lead from Craig Ramsey at 5:23. And then Bob Bourne, an unassisted goal at 13:09 as he broke away and scored a shorthanded goal for the Islanders, and that tied it. And Mike Bossy picked off an errant pass inside the line and went in all alone at 17:42, and that's the picture. Islanders 2, the Sabres 1. Buffalo out shooting the New York Islanders 14-9 in that first period. Don't forget, Thursday night, right here again, the Auditorium in Buffalo, the scene of Game 2 of this series, the Islanders and the Buffalo Sabres. Game 2, 8 o'clock Eastern Time on Thursday night.
Well, we have a record, or it increases a playoff record. Bourne's shorthanded goal, the playoff old mark was 11. That is now increased to 13, and that was the Islanders' first short-handed goal this year of the playoffs, and it turned out to be a big one. Both teams played rather loose in their own zone in that first period. They seemed to be attracted by the puck rather than taking the body, and those 14 shots that the Sabres had, a lot of them of the difficult variety.
Gary, what the heck is happening down in Philadelphia? 7 goals in the first period. Kristoff for Minnesota, then Hill for Philadelphia, Schmier for Minnesota, then Kristoff again for the North Stars, and then Kenny Linsman and Tom Gorans for the Flyers, and Kenny Linsman his second goal, 4-3 Philadelphia. They expected a low-scoring series.
Well, you know, reading Pat Quinn's comment, he said, I want to go into this playoff and play tight checking hockey. Well, you can see what happens, and sometimes you just have to ride out the storm, and if it takes 7 goals to win, you score 7 goals.
Well, they've got a low-scoring series. They've got a high-scoring series in the first period of that one. They're in the second now down there at a 4-3 Flyers, and here it's the Islanders on top of the Buffalo Sabres 2-1. The team at full strength as we start the second period. It's underway. Van Boxmeer coming to center, a long shot, hit Potvin, bounced wide. Martin didn't find it. Hero did. to Martin back of the net, and he was smashed along the boards right away and couldn't make a play. It's loose for a moment, comes to the goal crease, then is cleared to Bob Bourne. His long pass up high and down the ice into the Buffalo zone. That's Schoenfeld around the net. Nystrom all over him. Trottier going in. He's stopped by Van Boxmeer, and they get a whistle for the face-off to the right of the Buffalo net.
Well, Bob Nystrom got to play with Trottier just to separate that line combination. He's played the last 3 games with him, and you know, he's the type of player that you really want on your hockey club. Just watch him take men out along those boards. Trottier, of course, is the type of player that very consistent, goals and assists.
42 goals, 62 assists this season, 104 points. You'd call that productivity, I think.
And in the playoffs, he's leading the Oilers with 15 points already. So you know that he's going to be right there. And that's one of the worries of Coach Scotty Bowman. How to contain. You're not going to stop him. You have to try to contain Trottier.
Loose against number 19 of the New York Islanders. It's dropped in. Trottier with the draw. The quick shot is kicked away by Edwards. It comes outside the line, and Lorimer has to hurry back against Ramsey. He turns to the other side. Ramsey steals it. Coming in right in on goal with loose. He hit the side of the net. I don't know, but that hit the outside of the goalpost on that shot from close in. Well, the Sabres have come so very, very close so many times. But it's still 2-1 Islanders. Coming down Nystrom. He took a high shot up on the glass. Dudley couldn't move it out. Finally, it's cleared to Ramsey at center ice. Coming in with Luce and Dudley. Offside called at the New York blue line. Let's see if that didn't hit the post. I'm sure our expert cameramen have picked it up again.
Well, you'll never get a better opportunity than here. And where have all the defensemen gone? Look at this setup. 2-on-0. And that has to hit the goalpost. It does.
On the outside this time, and a ricocheted, as you saw, in back of the net.
Again, Bob, the Sabres continue to get those good scoring chances, and either Smith makes the save or the puck hits the goalpost. That's the 4th time already, and we've just got into the 2nd period.
Now Scotty Bowman has Mongrain with McClanahan and Ramsey as a unit up front, trying to shake it up and get some scoring for this Buffalo team. Richie Dunn back of the net, being watched by Merrick. Knocked it loose for Hike. Hike played it on the boards. McClanahan gets it up to the line, and there's Mongrain to center. Mongrain going up over the New York line, trying to barge in, and he was stopped by Merrick. Merrick takes over for New York, looks for a man and finds one. Langevin comes to the line at center ice and shoots one from there. Dunn touches it, and so icing is called against New York. From the Auditorium in Buffalo, this is Stanley Cup 80.
With the Luxaclad system, you can install siding and soffit on your home in a few weekends. And because you can do it yourself, you'll save money, too. Luxaclad's fun. Everyone will want to get in on the act. Easy to install, it has a special backing that adds strength. It snaps right into place with an exclusive joint mold and saws like wood. Easy, economical new beauty for your home that lasts for years from Hunter Douglas. The Luxaclad siding system at building supply stores everywhere.
Bob Cole along with Gary Dornhofer at the Auditorium in Buffalo. Game 1 of the semifinals, and the Islanders find themselves leading the Buffalo Sabres 2-1. Coming up to the 2-minute mark in this 2nd period. Merrick into the face-off circle, got the draw, put it in front of his own net. Comes to the line. Dunn took a shot. That was blocked, and it hops down the ice. Merrick couldn't find it, but here's Bourne. Bourne lost it up the blue line. Langevin waits for his mates to get on side. He waited long enough, played it well in on the board. It comes to Merrick. Merrick gets set, played it back in front. Tonelli took a shot nowhere near the net, and Ramsey goes after it for Buffalo. He starts out of the zone, up with Mongrain and McClanahan. They didn't get very far. And now Dunn at his own blue line. He's being hounded by Merrick. He gave him enough trouble so that Tonelli took it away from him. But now Ramsey goes in. Craig Ramsey, an easy save for Billy Smith on the short side. It's loose in the corner. Tonelli kicked it back of the net. Scampers in after it. Mongrain stole it. Got it in front. And McClanahan just failed to control it. Stanley dropped it to Bossy, and his shot right on the mark. And Edwards stopped it, and two Sabres break out of the zone. Down to center is Ramsey. Going in with McClanahan. On his backhand, he can't shoot it. And then he's bumped heavily by Lane. Smith going into the corner. And they get a whistle. No further play in the New York zone.
Well, the 5 goals that were scored in Philadelphia, they happened in 3 minutes and 20 seconds, which is another playoff record. And the North Stars have made a goaltender change. Gary Edwards is now in net. So I guess he's seen enough rubber for one game. Of course, Gilles Meloche, he's handled the games in the playoffs up till now.
And they've hit the 3-minute mark here in Buffalo, where the Islanders lead the Sabres 2-1 in this second period. Face off deep in the New York zone to the left of Billy Smith. And his 2 goal posts. Have to say that. The Buffalo Sabres have had so many chances. Hitting the post. Here's Gare. Around the net he goes. Gare, always dangerous in close. Whipped it back of the net the other way for Smith, and he was stopped by Morrow. Couldn't move it out. Now it's cleared by Lane up along the left side. At center, Gillies. Gillies trying to break in, and he's knocked down by Playfair. In center ice. It's Smith losing it. It's dropped over on the right wing, and Sutter breaks in, took a shot, an easy shot on Edwards. He just stopped it and cleared it away. Then Gare backs up in his own zone. Hands it out to center to McKegney. Going in with Ramsey, and the hard shot is off the boards into the mesh, and it came loose quickly. Gillies couldn't move it. So Lane has to back up. Gare chases him around the net. The Sabres sending in too deep now. McKegney and Gare didn't stop the Islanders, though. Down to center. Stanley going in. Goring made an extra move, and he was offside. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Auditorium in Buffalo.
100 years ago, we entered the Iron Age. Then came the age of steam. And now, the age of enlightenment. Introducing Light and Easy from CGE. With surge of steam, it irons everything a heavier iron can at half the weight to make the job a little easier. Light and Easy, the iron of the future, today, from Canadian General Electric.
The Islanders lead the Sabres 2-1 here in Buffalo, and in Philadelphia, we understand they're in the second period now. The Flyers 4 and North Stars 3 will be going down there for any further scoring in that game to show you the highlights. But right here in Buffalo, Martin trying to get loose for the Sabres. Going in with Van Boxmeer, who was stopped at the line, and Trottier comes back. Going in, he played it in for Howitt. Howitt takes it in back of the net, centered it in the crease, and it was cleared by Van Boxmeer in time. Out for Sealing, in with Perreault. Sealing to Perreault, right in front of Martin. Oh, and a nice skate save by Billy Smith on Rick Martin. Back for Nystrom. It's opened up a bit now. They're really going. Nystrom is upended. Play goes on. Into the corner. Martin comes up with it for Buffalo. And the fancy Dan Perreault's away. He goes up over the line. Cuts into the corner. Look at him move it. Back in front. But Howitt was there for New York. He nearly lost it in front of the net. He did lose it up the line, but got it back again. And bulls his way out across the line to center ice for Sealing. Took it and fed it back in. Great action now in this part of the second period. The Sabres trying to forecheck the Islanders. New York leading 2-1. The pass off Martin's stick, and he goes for a change as it goes in back of the New York goal. Potvin looking a little shaky, trying to move it up on the left wing. It's stopped by Height. Height feeds it back in. That's loose going in the corner against Lorimer. Round the net it comes for Potvin. He can't get it out, but Trottier will with Nystrom. There's Nystrom getting up over the line, fed it back in front, and Height was there for Buffalo. Nearing the 6-minute mark of the second period. Ramsey's long shot off the boards. And Tonelli bumped by Dudley. Dudley fell back of the net. Here's Don Luce trying to center it, and Billy Smith reaches up to grab it, and he hangs on. This is Stanley Cup 80 from the Auditorium in Buffalo.
You gotta have heart, you gotta have
the movement to light.
Islanders 2, the Sabres 1. They played 5:55 of the second period. Luce, Craig Ramsey, and Dudley for Buffalo. Height and Richie Dunn parked just inside the line. The face-off to the right of Billy Smith. And we're about set. There it is. Sabres with a draw going after it, but quickly. Pearson brings it out for New York. He gets to center and shoots it in on the left side. Richie Dunn coming back with Bill Height, and Height is there first. Up to Ramsey. Luce has started to move across center. The pass goes up over the line. No one there. It's tipped by Bossy. Well, then Buffalo. Bill Height taking over with Dunn. A pass ahead to Ramsey and Luce. Luce got away from a check. Poked it in the general direction of the net, but coming back is Merrick. Merrick stopped by Dudley and Luce. Ramsey gets in front, but it's Tonelli coming out with Bossy on the right. Bossy took the pass, dropped it back near the line, and the Sabres back checking, skate away again. Dudley couldn't hang on to the pass. Nearing the 7-minute mark of the second period. That's Tonelli breaking in. He nearly got through, but Bill Height took it away from him and cleared it off the boards into the center ice area, where they hold it along the far side. It comes loose again. Goring tried to knock it in for Bossy, but back for Danny Gare. The long shot is low and wide of the net. Bossy takes it across center. He's on side going in. Bossy gets in front to Tonelli, and the shot is knocked down by Edwards, and he hangs on to it, but Gary, that Bossy is something else.
Well, you saw the move that he made right just over the blue line, cut into the center, and if you don't take his body and be attracted by that puck, which so many defensemen are, well, he can do so many things. He does throw the puck to Tonelli. Look at Edwards here. You know, you talk about a goaltender having good position, good balance. Edwards showed it there. The Sabres have intensified their forechecking a little, sending two men in. And what they're trying to do is get the Islanders to fire that puck around and have the Sabre defensemen then pinch in and try to intercept those stray passes. They've done this several times and have had some good scoring chances in result of this.
We're in the second period as Gillies tries his shot. It's blocked in front of the net. Ramsey just moved it away, Mike Ramsey. It comes back to center, and Lane from his own side on the New York blue line. Played it up on the right wing. At the far side, Morrow couldn't get it in. Now they do. It goes into the left of the net, and Edwards stopping it. Playfair, a long pass going down on the left side. Back quickly is Ken Morrow. So, no icing. He's allowed to continue out. He ran into Danny Gare, decides to turn around for Sutter. Up with Goring. Goring for New York, going in with Gillies. Here's Goring trying to set it up. Gillies getting in front, but Don Edwards was alert enough to go down quickly. And he grabbed it and held it as they played now 7 minutes and 54 seconds of this second period. And Scotty Bowman has to be wondering what's happening to his team. They scored first, then had the advantage of a major penalty power play and had been scored against. Bourne's shorthanded goal. And then Bossy picked off a pass inside the line thrown by Bill Height, and he scored. And it's 2-1 New York.
Well, Scotty Bowman is a coach of many lines. You might see 8 or 9 combinations through the course of the game, trying to confuse the opposition. And we're going to next stoppage, Bob, to try to think the way Al Arbor would think in a case like that, what he might try to do.
Right now, Putback keeps it in at the blue line. Don Edwards knifed it away. Smith got the pass and starts out for Buffalo. A long pass in for Gare. Gare is loose in the corner on the right side. Now catching up to him is Putbank. Couldn't hang on to it. McKechnie got in front, tried to jam it in. Gare goes back of the net. Whipped it back to the line. From there, Ramsey took a shot. That's wide. And Bob Bourne gets on it quickly. He's forced in front of the net. But Nystrom manages to backhand it off the boards to center. And now Gare played it back into McKechnie. His shot was blocked in front by Lorimer. And then the goaltender, Billy Smith, hangs on to it. With a score, the New York Islanders 2 and the Buffalo Sabres 1. This is Stanley Cup 80.
This is the real secret of Colonel Sanders Kentucky Fried Chicken. Ingredients that are fresh and wholesome. everything the very best. Couldn't you go for some of that good chicken right now?
There's nothing like it.
Thank you, Colonel. Good chicken.
Bob Cole along with Gary Dornhofer at the Auditorium in Buffalo, where the Islanders are up by a goal and the Buffalo Sabres. 11:26 left in the second period. It's still 4-3 of the second down at Philadelphia, and the Flyers are leading in that one. We'll have the highlights from that game for you as they become available. Any further scoring, of course, you'll see it all. Trottier played it in for Nystrom. Nystrom couldn't get loose. They covered up on him quickly. Now Bourne hit Martin with that pass, and he tried to head down to Perrault, who was in behind everybody. But it hopped over his stick. Nystrom had his man. Trottier hitting center. Had a good move down the right side as Schoenfeld had gone to the ice. He didn't know it. And now Bourne for New York. He made a good move outside the line, fed it in for Nystrom, and he was covered. Dennis Potvin shoots it up along the boards. And Van Boxmeer gives it to Schoenfeld. Hitting center ice with the shot high off the glass. It bounces in back of the net. Here's Perrault bumping with Langevin. Comes off the boards again, and Nystrom leaves it there for Merrick. Skating away to center. Going up over the line with Nystrom. Nystrom in back of the net. Can't move it in front. Took another swing at it and missed it. Now Merrick going back of the goal. Dunn took it away from him as they're near the halfway mark of the second period. Long pass went up over the boards near the New York bench, and the play is called.
Well, as we had said before, Scotty Bowman will change lines so many times and try to get a matchup. Al Arbour, since he has three lines that are playing so well coming off that Boston series, he doesn't want to disrupt his line by trying to match Scotty Bowman since he has the last change. So he'll just keep going with his three lines, one right after the other, trying to get that good forechecking.
At this point of the hockey game, the Buffalo Sabres have outshot the New York Islanders 18-14. Mongrain comes to center for Buffalo against Merrick of the New York Islanders. Pass comes to the line. Langevin kept it in. A shot, hard shot by Pearson. It bounces down front. They score. The Islanders pick it up quickly, and Tonelli was there, and they open up a 2-goal lead. Gary, it's now New York 3 and the Buffalo Sabres 1, and this crowd has gone into a hush.
Well, the importance of those face-offs. The Islanders will gain control, and you'll see the shot from the point. Now, when that shot is directed at the net, it goes wide by Pearson. Now, Edwards is off balance. He can't recover and get back in time and goes down. He's in a prone position. Had he been able to keep his balance, he probably would have stopped Tonelli.
Tonelli from Langevin and Merrick. The time, 9:56.
9:56, the time of that goal. Tonelli from Langevin and Merrick. And it gives the New York Islanders a 3-1 lead.
Well, it was Langevin that shot it and not Pearson, but it was a good setup there. And Edwards just lost his balance on the original shot, even though it was going wide of the net, and was not able to recover. And who's jolly on the spot? But John Tonelli for his 5th playoff goal.
Well, I don't know. Pearson took that shot for the blue line. I wouldn't be surprised if they change it a little later, Gary. Perrault goes to center ice for Buffalo. Down 2 goals, the Sabres team now to the New York Islanders. Drops back to ceiling. The shot by Van Boxmeer. Blocked by Billy Smith. Now Potvin spun around. He went sprawling. Tonelli got as far as center. Couldn't come up with it. And Lorimer goes in back of the net. On the boards, it went by ceiling. Tonelli gets a pass into the middle to Merrick, and Bourne going in. Bourne with a shot. That's off the glove of Edwards. It bounces in back of the net. Hero tried to move it out. Comes back in front of Merrick. Was covered in time, and Schoenfeld. Up to Perrault. Going in with Martin. Martin breaking for the left side, and he's stopped by Lorimer. Sabres come in looking for it, but the Islanders are all back covering up. It's outside the line. Schoenfeld Drops it back to Van Boxmeer, and he gives it back to him. Schoenfeld feeds it ahead. Perreault was covered. Tonelli breaks in on the left side for New York. He gets in back of the net. Tonelli trying to one-hand it out front, now holds it with his skate. Van Boxmeer falling along with him. The puck in the corner, they fight for it, and they get a whistle. Van Boxmeer and Tonelli, I don't know, they might come up swinging. They did some pushing, but they're down flat, and the linesmen are in quickly. Stanley Cup 80 will continue in a moment. Bob Cole and Gary Dornhofer at the Auditorium in Buffalo for Game 1 of this semifinal series. Islanders 3 over the Sabres 1 down in Philadelphia, and we'll be going there to show you highlights of that game 2 tonight. Flyers lead the North Stars 4-3 in a slugfest, at least for goals anyway. They're in the second period down there as we are here. Buffalo scored first, but the Islanders have come back 3 times now, and they're up front 3-1. Out over the line it comes, and it's Smith breaking in for Buffalo. Good move. Smith backhands it. He was in too far. Couldn't quite hit the mark. At the line it stopped, but now cleared by Gordy Lane. By Gillies, though, down the ice. Coming back Playfair. Tried to get a stick near. Gillies steals it. He nearly centered it, but it's grabbed by McKechnie. He couldn't move it out against Lane. Lane looks for it as he spun around. And then finally, it's fired back to the New York line. Smith missed it. Coming in is Goring. Goring for Gillies. To pass on his skates. He had to hurry his shot then. And an easy save for Don Edwards. Now Goring went in looking for it, but they get a whistle as 4 players jam in on the boards to the right of Don Edwards. And there's no further play. With 7:56 remaining in the second period, the New York Islanders 3 and the Buffalo Sabres 1.
Think that guy doesn't get a lot of room out there? Clark Gillies?
Is he tough or what?
He was the hardest guy I ever had to play against. You know, when he hit you, you knew you were hit, and you had bruises all over your body. So that's why when he's out there, players tend to just stay away from him and not get him mad or angry. He reminds me a lot of Mahovlich.
Chico Resch was telling us this morning, Gary, remember about the Cup series he's just come through with the Boston Bruins.
You're absolutely right, and I think that certainly helped the Islanders, you know, going through that physical series. But with Gillies, you know, if you let him sleep and don't bother him, he doesn't really play his game. He isn't that effective. But just throw a check or something into him and then watch out.
What you're telling me now, Gary, in the golden days of the Philadelphia Flyers, you started him going. You got him going. If he hit you.
No, I stayed away from him just like everybody else.
You're modest. I remember the days when Gary Dornhofer was one of the big muscle men of the Philadelphia Flyers, and we don't have to go back too far for that. And it's good to have you up here with us now, Gary. I bet it's good to be here, too. Safer, right?
Absolutely.
3-1, Islanders leading. Out across the line at center, Smith comes in for Buffalo. Nearly got through, and he was stopped by Stephen Pearson. He just feeds it back down the ice. Coming back, Mike Ramsey. That's Playfair. Long pass up by Bourne. Bourne moving in after it. Here he comes with Henning. Henning centered it. Nystrom was in front. Nystrom took a shot, and Edwards was covering, and now there's going to be a penalty. Just as soon as they touch it, here it comes. Live from the Auditorium in Buffalo, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Over 50 kinds of lawn weeds have lost their lives in the ongoing war between weeds and Killex, Canada's leading lawn weed killer. We do not ask you to remember these weeds, Just don't forget easy-to-apply Killex from Green Cross. Killex. Lawns love it. Weeds die for it.
In the second intermission, we have Showdown in the NHL, a special CBC News report on U.S. President Carter's news conference tonight. And I'll talk with one of the inactive Islanders, Jean Potvin.
All right, David. Right now, Henning of the New York Islanders is off for hooking. 12:44 this penalty. So again, Gary, the Buffalo Sabres have an opportunity on this power play. They must get it going this time.
Well, it's imperative they can get back in this hockey game, and what better time than when you have that man advantage.
Let's see what happens, Gary, as it's led by Richard Martin, and he was stopped by Goring, who poked it back to center. The Sabres get back on side. Perreault drops it back for Dunn. Dunn comes to center, shoots it in on the boards. Coming in on this wing is Perreault, flipping it for Sealing. Sealing in the corner for Buffalo, getting it back. Craig Ramsey on a difficult angle, can't shoot it. He decides to try to draw a man and does. Now to Perreault near the line. The Islanders set up that box beautifully. Now Craig Ramsey coming in, another penalty coming, but this time I think it's going to be against the Buffalo Sabres. The goaltender, we didn't see it. In the crease, something happened. Now, Gary, you tell us a little bit about Billy Smith. I know he appears to be shaken up on this one, but they tell me that he is one of the toughest goaltenders in the league. If you move around his crease, he'll let you know you're not supposed to be there.
Well, Martin and Smith were both swinging the sticks. Actually, Rick Martin caught Smith with a stick, and he's going to be the only one getting the penalty, but he's a lot worse, or he was a lot worse years ago than he is now, and it seemed to affect his play. Anytime he started swinging that stick, then all of a sudden players started putting the puck by him. But now, you know, he doesn't bother with the guys in front, doesn't swing it as much as he used to. All right, you talk about what happens. There you see Rick Martin trying to get away from the defenseman, and that one swing there clipped Billy Smith, or came close to him. If it didn't hit him, he put on a pretty good performance. In any event, Rick Martin, he's in the penalty box. That's a high sticking call, and that certainly takes care of the penalty.
It's even up now. A minute and 17 seconds left in the Islanders penalty.
See, there was a good case right there, Bob. There's no sense of Rick Martin being in front of the net as long as the shot isn't directed. He's just getting the stuffings knocked out of him, and there's no value there. Why not wait till the shot is directed at the net and then go in front?
Well, 6:33 left of the second period. The Islanders lead by 2 goals, and now they're 5 aside. Gare coming out for Buffalo, tipped it ahead to Perreault. Perreault tried to go in. Gare was knocked down. The fans trying to call that penalty, but none is coming. At the line, a long shot, Van Boxmeer hit Potvin. Merrick coming out with Tonelli down the wing. Tonelli hitting the line, cutting in front. He fell, and the Sabres will clear it. A 2-man break led by Gare and Perreault. Perreault going in, faking the shot, and he was forced away by Bob Lormer, who played it beautifully. Now Tonelli takes over. Tonelli's pass to Merrick. He hits center ice. Carries on, threw it into the zone. Schoenfeld broke his stick trying to check him. Van Boxmeer around the net for Buffalo. Coming out. 24 seconds left in the New York penalty. The long rising shot off the glass behind Billy Smith. Right in front, it comes to Lane. He didn't know what to do with it. Just kicked it away quickly as he had his stick high in the air, and he just booted it away with his skate. 12 seconds left in the penalty to Lauren Henning of New York.
Well, the Sabres were very fortunate in this play. Watch Schoenfeld come around, and a little two-hander there actually broke his stick on the play. And there was no call on that one, but that certainly could have been a slash possibility of a 2-minute penalty. You know, perhaps the Sabres are making too many little plays inside their blue line or inside the Islander blue line. Why not take a few shots? You notice a 2-on-1 there with Perreault and Gare, and they're trying to make that one extra little shift or that one extra little play instead of firing some shots.
Well, Ramsey seemed to me to be in a good position at one point and decided to pass it off. However, it's still 3-1 New York. And in 5 seconds, the Islanders will have the man advantage as Lane shoots it in. Now the New York penalty is over. So they're up in manpower. Ramsey coming out for Buffalo. Going to the line to center ice. Coming in is Luce. Luce cutting to the right side. Feeds it over on the other wing. Ramsey will tuck it back to Dunn, killing some seconds. 25 seconds left in Richard Martin's penalty. Luce coming in across the line, and Lane was there. Lane for New York. It's tipped to center ice. Buffalo just intercepting, shooting it back in, and now 8 seconds left in Martin's penalty. So that'll do it as Lane starts out. Martin gets ready to come back on to center. The Islanders play it in. Trottier couldn't reach it. It goes to Don Edwards. As Martin steps back on, the teams are at full strength. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Auditorium in Buffalo.
Hey, Mercury Zephyr, is it true what we've been hearing?
Yep. This 6-cylinder Zephyr is rated at 30.2 miles per gallon.
Better than Aspen, Valori, Pontiac, Phoenix, and Chevy Citation.
Oh, there's more. This 4-cylinder wagon is rated at 33 miles per gallon.
Beating Toyota Corona?
Better than AMC Concord, even better than Volvo.
Yep. And check the low price of this Zephyr 2-door sedan. If you're looking for proven value, fuel economy, and low price, test drive a Mercury Zephyr today. At the sign of the cat.
Bob Cole with Gary Dornhofer at the Auditorium in Buffalo, where the New York Islanders are leading the Buffalo Sabres 3-1 in the second period at Philadelphia, where we will be going periodically during the evening for goals. It's still 4-3 for the Flyers. So they have settled down. Now they tell me that Minnesota has tied it down there, and we'll be going there to show you just how that was done. 4:30 left in this second period. Islanders lead by 2 goals, 3-1. Van Boxmeer back of the net. Starting out for Buffalo on the left side. Perreault gaining speed. He's up over the line, dropping it back to Martin. Martin took a shot from a bad angle. Sealing has it. Back to Van Boxmeer. He lets it go. And Billy Smith, covering the angle beautifully, held onto it. Now, another report from the Philadelphia-Minnesota game with Dan Kelly at the Spectrum.
Stop with a pass in across the line for Mike Eaves. Eaves shoots, scores! Mike Eaves ties it for Minnesota.
Okay, Dan, we'll be checking with you with further action. So now down there, Gary, it's 4-4. They seem to have settled down. And I think it's a brand new game now. They're tired.
It's amazing how the North Stars continue to come back.
Here it's 3-1. Islanders over the Sabres. 4:10 left to the second period. That's Lorimer playing it out to the line. Smith knocked it down, and Potvin takes over back of the net. Garrett chases him. Play comes off to Bourne. He feeds it over to Nystrom and went behind him. Nystrom to Trottier going in. He's dangerous. In front of the net it comes, and Edwards knocks it away with his stick. Now Gare down the right wing boards for Buffalo. The long pass in, a good one for McKechnie. His shot, the skate save by Billy Smith. At the line, Ramsey took a drive. Right in front, it's loose. It hopped away from Gare, but he sets up Ramsey, and he skimmed the shot along the ice and just missed the far corner. Trottier going in for New York. Tried to knock it loose, and he did. Here's Bossy. Bossy feeds it over in front. He tried to hit Tonelli, but it was broken up. And Gare overskates it at center. Smith shooting one in for Buffalo. With 3:10 left to play in the second period, the Islanders coasting down now with that 2-goal lead. The long shot played in on Edwards. Back for Van Boxmeer. Look at him go. Van Boxmeer gets up near the line with Perreault, and around a man he goes. Cuts it around the net, centered it. Back to the line of stealing. He didn't shoot it, played it off to the corner. And it's Ken Morrow for New York. Coming back out. Down for Tonelli, too far. That could be icing. It is. I don't know why they don't shoot a little more often, as you said earlier, Gary.
Again, it's that one play, that one too many. Van Boxmeer, of course, he's had 2 excellent long drives that have hit the post. He came over in that trade for from Colorado for Rennie Robert, a favorite here. What an acquisition he has been.
I talked to him at length this morning. I talked about the layoff. John, how does it feel? 10 days, nothing to do but practice. He said, you know, we've stayed in shape, we've had scrimmages and so on and so forth, but say what you want, it gets boring. You miss the pressure, you miss being in that cooker, you miss being belted around as you are in a game such as this, and it's tough. That's the toughest part of it.
Well, the game has certainly picked up in tempo in this second period, and right now it's the Islanders with their aggressive play along the boards in the corner. That's why they're ahead right now, 3-1. And, of course, the missed chances by the Sabres, and they have certainly had plenty of them. But I agree, Bob. They've got to start shooting the puck a little more and instead of all these fancy little plays, because every pass that you make may result in a miscue.
2 minutes and 41 seconds left in the second period. Islanders 3 and the Buffalo Sabres 1. Now let's see what has happened down in Philadelphia at the Spectrum. Here again is Dan Kelly.
Cleared it. Young held it in. Back of the goal. North Star still with pressure on. Out in front. They score! Payne! And Minnesota on the power play on a goal by Steve Payne takes the lead.
We're back live in Buffalo as Nystrom shoots it in. Isn't it amazing down there? 5-4 now for the North Stars. Here's his shot right on. It comes back to the line. Goring backhands it in around the net, and the Sabres come right out of the zone. It's Dunn breaking it over the line. Dunn tried to play it back in front. He was covered by Lane, and then Morrow took over. He held it, fed it up against the boards, and the Islanders just shoot it down to center ice. A minute and 55 seconds left in the second period. Islanders 3 and the Sabres 1. Now Gillies trapped one at the blue line, keeping it in. In front it goes. The shot by Nystrom didn't come off. He fanned on it more or less. And the Sabres get it up to center ice. Here again is Pearson for Goring. Goring shoots it in for New York. They come in looking for it with 1.5 minutes left in the period. Richie Dunn. The pass over on this wing goes off the boards and down the ice. And Langevin just feeds it back to center. They throw it back and forth now. A long shot. Billy Smith, easy save. Langevin ahead to Bossy. On the right side, he's bumped hard by Schoenfeld and knocked flying. And here's Perreault, speaking of flying, going in. Perreault! Oh, he hit the side of the net with Billy Smith covering up. Holding the post. Another shot. What a grab by Billy Smith. I can't believe it. He was falling, going the other way. The puck looked harmless enough. It was deflected, though. Watch closely now, and you'll see. And that great reflex action that he displays to his left side. Unbelievable how he got the glove on it and held it.
Well, that's something that Billy Smith has been doing. And, you know, that's the concentration. You never know what's going to happen. It's a harmless-looking shot. Changes direction. Now, how about that?
Sports fans, I'll tell you, that was almost it. And he just somehow went springing back, diving for it. Gary, unbelievable goaltending.
You ever play shortstop for a major league team?
Oh. Billy Smith of the New York Islanders. They told us coming into the series that he was hot, and I would believe him. Who wouldn't? Great play. And with just 50 seconds left in this period, that would have been a tremendous goal for Buffalo. Let's see if they can do something else. Perreault is going again. Here's Perreault dropping it. Martin took a shot, and Billy Smith, the stick save. 40 seconds left in the period. It's lobbed down the ice. Doesn't make the goal line, so no icing. Schoenfeld belted right away by Wayne Merrick. Then Boxmeer up on the left side. Howard had him covered. Howard gets loose with Merrick. Merrick trying to come up with a play from the boards, but they hold it there, and they get a whistle with 19 seconds left in this period. And the Islanders looks as if they're going to hang on to that at least 2-goal lead and take it in for the start of the third. And that's a big lead going into the final 20 minutes in this type of hockey.
Well, it certainly is, and we got a very important face-off coming up right now. And I'm sure Scotty Bowman will play one of his best face-off men. That's the last thing you want to do is get a goal scored against you in the last minute of play. And Derek Smith certainly handles himself so well in that face-off zone. And, you know, it's up to your center iceman to set the rest of your players where he wants you. and he doesn't go into that situation until everybody's absolutely ready.
Merrick is against Smith. And Merrick got the draw at the line. Lorimer shot, and that was just wide of the short side. 14 seconds left in the period. It comes to center. Coming back again. Lorimer feeds it in off the boards, and 7 seconds left. It's cleared high on the glass and over the glass into the crowd at the far side. That'll do it now, Gary. Just 2 seconds left on the clock. And the Islanders have that 2-goal lead. It'll be a formality now. They'll drop it and cover up as best they can.
You know, Bob, it never fails. As soon as I say what a good face-off guy he is, he loses the draw.
Well, he is. He has been just super taking face-offs. But Wayne Merrick,
I like that guy right there. What a lot of spunk he has. Had many a battle with Gary Howitt. Doesn't have an abundance of talent, but boy, does he have a lot of heart. He goes out there and he works.
ready to drop it in, just inside the line. Merrick again with the draw. It's cleared to center, and the horn goes to end the second period. And the New York Islanders add to their first period lead by scoring in that frame and just hanging on and checking the Buffalo Sabres into the ice. And so the score at the end of two periods is the New York Islanders 3 and the Buffalo Sabres 1.
That's our point of view. Come on and join us. We're counting on you. Breaking away for the good times.
Yeah, I know. Hi. How was the meeting?
Break away to Canadian.
That's what I was looking for.
Boston Canadian. Breaking away to Canadian. Breaking away to the good times.
It's for people like you, people who do what you want at Canadian Tire. Anything you want to.
This summer, you want your car in perfect condition, so get it fixed up now at Canadian Tire. Whether you do it or we do it for you, we have the things you need and the prices you're looking for.
It's for people like you, people who do Canadian Tire.
Here, from Braun, in the domain of the rotary shaver, is the Braun Micron. Look, this is the shaving area of the rotary head. The Braun Micron foil is 30% thinner for a closer, cleaner shave. The thinner the foil, the closer Braun shaves. Our design is to shave you closer than the rotary. The Braun Micron.
The visitors have the lead here. The Islanders 3 and Buffalo 1, and it's the same story in Philadelphia. Minnesota 5 and the Philadelphia Flyers 4. The Islanders built their lead to a 2-goal margin on John Tonelli's goal. There is some question about the assist they were given as Langevin and Merrick, but as you probably noticed, Stefan Persson appeared to earn an assist with the initial shot on the goal that resulted in New York leading 3-1. Now, showdown in the NHL.
Well, Gary Dornhofer, we've got some great talent in our Champion of Champions series. For example, Mike Bossy, the Wingers champion.
Well, he has great God-given talent of putting the puck in the net. He has to do well in the shooting and breakaway drills to be the overall champion.
How about this man, Robbie Ftorek of Quebec, the centers champion?
Well, he beat out some superstars to get here. He could be unbeatable in the skating drills.
Reed Larson, the defenseman champion.
Well, Reed has all the skills. His main weapon, of course, being his great snapshot from the slot area.
Everybody loves this young man, 19-year-old Wayne Gretzky, the sophomores champion.
Well, Wayne is a prolific goal scorer. With his natural ability, he could win it all.
They'll face Don Edwards in goal. He's already been crowned goaltending champ. Showdown. Brought to you by Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time. So now we move to the final events in Showdown, the $5,000 Championship Series, winner take all. 4 great competitors involved, and it's really tough to pick a winner. But if somebody asked me right now who to go with, I'd go with Mike Bossy of the Islanders. Now, so Peter Puck puts the targets in place. We look at the scoring system. First place worth 10, second 7, third 5, fourth 3. We'll be right back.
High-fidelity ideas from Techniques. Ingenious, affordable. The Quartz Direct Drive Turntable from Techniques. Another step closer to perfect sound reproduction. The quietest, most accurate performance ever from Techniques. Techniques High Fidelity. A complete system of innovative ideas.
Well, Gary, just before we get to our first event, let's take a look at that close race in the goaltending battle. Edwards won it by just 1 save over Palmateer and Esposito.
Couldn't have been any closer than that, but a real good performance by Edwards.
All right, now, Robbie Fatorik is up first. 10 shots on Don Edwards.
Well, he got that first one. That's the good start you need. That was off the post. There's another one right through the leg.
Close call there off the post. Look at that, another.
Come on. Oh, Slot would never get there. There, he missed the net on that one. That's 2 out of 3 missed the net. 3 misses on his last 4 shots. Not very good.
But he got 3 goals. We'll see if that's good enough. Yeah, he knows he missed the target there a couple of times. So it brings us to Mike Bossy. What a shooter he's turned out to be in his brief career in the NHL.
Look at that snapshot.
Another good start. 2 in a row. Stick save.
Well, he handles the puck. As soon as he gets it, gets ready to shoot it, and here's the result. There's a good save by Edwards. Off the post.
We got 3. Another delay there. That can throw you off a bit. Oh, he drove the 10th shot in there and gets 4 goals in 10 tries.
Well, Mike Bossy, he's one of the best shooting that puck from the slot area. Gets good control of it. Here's a little snapshot. Doesn't take that stick back very far. Follows through at the target, and there's the result.
So it's 4-3. Bossy over Fatorik, and Reed Larson is our next shooter. He's got a heavy shot, Gary.
Well, he can shoot it. There's no question about that. That's something he does so well. Missed the net in the first one. No, 2 misses in a row. Come on, Reed. There it is. There's one. That was a good shot. Now he's got the rhythm. You see that one hit another puck and knock it in, Brian?
That is going to count. The ruling on that is a goal. And he'll finish with 4, the same total as Bossy.
Well, we're going to see it on the replay where Reed Larson's shot will knock another puck in, and it's the goalie's responsibility to clear the pucks around the net. There it is right there. It probably would have went in anyway.
Well, that's the ruling from referee Art Scold. So Reed Larson finishes with 4 goals, the same total as Mike Bossy. I wonder if this kid from Edmonton can top that.
Well, Wayne had 5 goals in his to win his sophomore series, and there's a good start.
Wide.
Well, you notice that Art Skov had called slap shot, which was illegal, and may have thrown Wayne off a little bit.
Oh, there's the whistle. He disallowed that shot. Bringing the stick too far back, but he was not in that one anyway. Just 1 goal in 10 shots. So it's a tie between Larson and Bossy. They each pick up 8 points. Fatorik gets 5, Gretzky 3. Champion of Champions Series with our skating drills on Showdown. Brought to you by Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time.
for 5 NHL teams, but I think the one that everybody has identified him with since he first joined them is the New York Islanders, and I assume you're happy to be back with the team and with Brother Dennis.
I certainly am, Dave. It was a grueling 2 years that I spent first in Cleveland and then in Minnesota. And to come back this summer as being part of the New York Islanders is coming back home for me, because I make my home back there on Long Island. My wife and I love it very much, and it's nice to be back with friends, and especially Brother Dennis, like you said.
The Islanders would have played the Philadelphia Flyers in Montreal, but here in Buffalo, and I guess there wasn't really much of a choice. It wouldn't make much difference who you played.
You're right, because Al Arbour cautioned us all week that in the event that we got our minds up that, well, we're going to play Philadelphia Flyers, he didn't want us to get thinking that way, because then if you're disappointed and you end up playing somebody else, this might be a psychological factor against you going into those first couple of games. So Al Arbour prepared us to play both teams, both mentally and on the ice during practices.
This may not be a question that you would enjoy answering, but I really think that the 6 Islander defensemen that are playing out there tonight are playing very, very well, and it's important, I think, for a team to have that depth on defense, and it's maybe something the Islanders haven't had in the past.
It's true. I think that the 6 Islander defensemen that we have playing right now are the best 6 defensemen that the Islanders have ever had, and I play defense. I haven't played very much in the second half of the season, but Al Arbour was gentleman enough earlier on in the season to caution me that he was trying to develop younger defensemen, and he would be playing them a little more, and at times I would not dress and not even play during the last stretch of the season going towards the playoffs if the guys were playing well. I'm very, very happy to see how well the guys are responding.
And not playing, you are broadcasting, which is on New York radio, which is something I know you've always had a great interest in, and perhaps after the career is over, the active career, it's something you'd like to do full-time.
Definitely, Dave. I've had an opportunity, not playing and not dressing in the last half of the season, to help out on the New York radio back to Long Island, New York, to do the color commentating on the radio, and I really enjoy that. And I think if there's an opportunity for me after hockey, I'd certainly like to consider it and put all my eggs in that basket for a while.
Well, if there can be a happy reaction to not dressing for a game, it is that a fellow such as Jean Potvin enjoys being in the broadcast booth, and we've enjoyed having you here on our intermission. Good luck to you, and good luck to the Islanders.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. It's always a pleasure.
Jean Potvin of the Islanders, and now the third period. The Sabres down 2 goals, Bob Cole and Gary Dornhofer.
Okay, Dave and Jean, it's Islanders 3 and the Buffalo Sabres 1. The Sabres now just coming on the ice here of the Auditorium in Buffalo. The Islanders have been on for a little bit. Down in Philadelphia, they're in the third period now. The North Stars have gone ahead of the Flyers 5-4. Here's the summary in this game, the second period summary. It's brief, as you see. John Tonelli at 9:56, his 5th, to give the Islanders that 2-goal spread. They had led 2-1 at the end of the first period. And we remind you, once again, that Game 2 of this series will be played here in Buffalo, of course, at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. That's Thursday night. And we'll be along, of course, to cover what happens in that game for you on CBC across the country. Gary Dornhofer, I look down at the Buffalo Sabres now, and they're obviously trying to talk themselves into getting away from the posts, continue driving and driving. What really do they have to do? They can't afford to open up too much.
Well, that's right, Bob. First of all, you know, you hate to lose your home ice advantage in the very first game, and this first game is so important to who is going to advance. The Sabres have certainly had good scoring chances. Numerous occasions they were in cold turkey there on Smith, just unable to put the puck past them. But what they started doing then is trying to make that extra pass. Let's have one more pretty pass. Let's set up this guy. Let's set up that. Consequently, they're getting in so close, Smith is just taking the angle away from them. So I'd like to see them get some more shots from the top of the circle, from in the slot area, have that second man breaking for that net with the possibility of that rebound. They still have plenty of time. 20 minutes is a lot of time to get 2 goals back. They have done it before. They did it against Chicago, but it's going to take a lot of discipline, short shifts, 2 men in with a lot of speed. You know, they got to get those wingers going down the boards at full speed and then dump the puck in, and they can come up with it, and they can get back in this hockey game.
Gary, everybody has been predicting that this series is probably going to be the tougher of the 2 series. And when you look at the 4 goaltenders involved, you have Resch and Billy Smith of the Islanders, Sauvé and Don Edwards of the Sabres. I'd have to agree. It could be very, very tight all the way through.
Well, absolutely. Billy Smith, of course, he's taken over from Chico Resch in the first game of the playoffs, and he has been in there ever since. The Sabres, of course, 2 fine goaltenders in Edwards and Sauvé. They do alternate, and they continue to do so until one really bombs out, which hasn't been the case.
Right away, the Sabres slap it in. Van Boxmeer slapped it from his own side of center ice, and of course, icing is called against Buffalo.
But, you know, you look at these 2 goaltenders. They are similar in style. They are angled goaltenders. They come out to challenge the shooters. Both Smith and Edwards, very capable. They've been around. They've got that experience going for them. But so far tonight, it's been Billy Smith as we look at him with the hot hand.
Now Trottier goes to center for the New York Islanders against Perreault, and he gets the draw, but Van Boxmeer again hammers one on the boards. It comes to Martin, and Martin is offside. I thought that ticked somebody near center ice, but obviously it didn't. And the officials a lot closer to the play than we are, let me tell you, here in Buffalo. I think, Gary, this is probably the highest vantage point of any broadcast booth in the National Hockey League.
You know, I'm surprised the people have been relatively quiet. Of course, the home team is behind, but they're not really making the amount of noise that I thought they would tonight to get these Sabres going.
On the boards, it's played by Nystrom. Back of the net again, Van Boxmeer. Starting away, his pass to the line didn't work. It's obvious that the Sabres are trying to headman it. Is somebody free? Outside, the 2 forechecking Islanders this time. Perreault comes in across the line. He tried to move the other way, but he was stopped in his tracks by Potvin, the veteran. Islanders keep it in near the line. It's stopped by the Sabres, and Schoenfeld played it back of the net. It came out to hit the skate of Perreault. Now there's Perreault on the other side. He's stopped again, and Billy Smith holds it against the mesh with his stick as Perreault and Martin get in close. And again, they're not taking any chances. The Islanders come back to protect the goaltender. Nothing develops. There's Perreault.
Well, he is the key of the Sabres attack. Whenever he's on the ice, you just watch when he carries the puck, how the defensemen seem to back in. Always gives up that zone. You know, not too often will they challenge him at the blue line. And this is so very important. The way the game is played today is to get a hold of that zone and then set up the plays. Perreault, he can do that. Trottier, he does it for the Islanders, along with Goring.
Smith, Gare, and McKegney for the Buffalo Sabres. Mike Ramsey and Playfair on the defense. The face-off to the left of Billy Smith. They didn't do it fairly. Didn't drop it in, actually. Gerard Gauthier, the linesman. And he calls McKegney in. Sends Smith out. Here it is. It comes right away to Gare. His shot was deflected by Bourne, who takes over for New York. Back of the net. He's trapped back there. Now Gare got it loose. Gare tried to push it in front. It was stopped by a skate. McKegney rooting after it, but nobody can get it loose. And they're playing at close quarters now, I'll tell you. From the Auditorium in Buffalo, this is Stanley Cup 80.
When the law firm of Hannigan, Brannigan, Milligan, and Malone decided to part company, everything proceeded politely.
Excuse me, Mr. Brannigan. Oh, certainly, Mr. Hannigan.
Until it came to the question of who should have the Xerox copy.
And where would you be going with that, sir? Chapter 3, subparagraph 4, all of now,
So they did the only thing they could do. After all, having a Xerox copier is one thing. Parting with it is quite another.
The fans here in the Auditorium in Buffalo now getting a little restless. They want some scoring action. But the Islanders break out of the zone again. Trottier, the pass, didn't work. And Gare feeds it ahead for Smith. He can't hang on to it. McKegney missed it. Now here's Mike Ramsey playing it off to the far corner. Gillies winding up in his own zone. He gives it to Morrow. The pass goes to Sutter. Down to Gillies, too far. And again, Playfair was there to clear it on the boards. A minute and a half gone in the third period. The Islanders Islanders still lead it by 2 goals. It's 3-1. And Smith drops it back in his own zone. Playfair looking for room down the right wing. Gets up near the line and shoots it in. Back of the net, Billy Smith stopping it. And it's cleared out to Sutter up the line. Coming down is Goring at center. Goring dropping it for Sutter. Sutter is covered, can't shoot it. And Height takes it for the Buffalo Sabres. Here he comes. The pass intended for McKegney didn't work. And McKegney then, when he caught up to it, got rid of it. Langevin at his own line now, cleared. And it comes to Merrick. At center, feeds it ahead to Bossy. Merrick again. He's stopped outside the line. Pearson turning at center for New York. Calmly sends it back into the Buffalo zone. And then Richie Dunn tried to move it out and couldn't. Pearson did not keep it in. Slapped at it. Merrick was offside. Height will have an opportunity, but he went back deep. And so they call the play offside against New York.
Well, the Sabres have suddenly stopped skating. They have thrown the puck into the zone a couple of times, and all they're doing is giving it back to the Islanders. They're not moving. Of course, the Islanders, they're content when they get possession, just dump it in and have the wings pick up the wings. So they always have 4 men coming back. They don't want to give the Sabres an opportunity to get a 3-on-1 or 3-on-2 break.
Schoenfeld for Buffalo. Cautious near his own blue line, but he lost it on that pass. Then it was cleared by Tonelli, but not across the line. A second attempt gets it in. Van Boxmeer swings around the net. A good play comes out to Mongrain. Mongrain goes to center. Tries to carry on. Was stopped near the line, but Clanahan couldn't carry in. And the Islanders break back down to center ice. Langevin's shot is high and wide. Merrick in after it. Back of the net it goes. Schoenfeld for Buffalo. Hitting Mongrain near the line to center. In on the wing comes Perreault. Back to Mongrain. His shot is blocked. And it's cleared into the corner. Mongrain. Perreault comes in front. He was stopped. Perreault again. Dropping it back to Schoenfeld. The rebound. And it's cleared away by Merrick. Down to Bossy. Bossy in with a shot. And that was blocked by Edwards. Another shot. Bossy near the side of the net. And Edwards goes down and hangs on for the faceoff.
Well, there is an outstanding play by Edwards. You know, we were talking about how they were challenging.
Tonight's game is coming to you from the Auditorium in Buffalo.
Capri Fever is here.
Catch it.
Don't let Capri Value pass you by.
Catch it with bucket seats, 4 on the floor, rack and pinion steering, and full instrumentation.
Inside, that's where Capri Fever really strikes.
Capri has the best fuel rating for North American-built 6-cylinder cars in its class.
So you can have fun and save gas, too. Capri Fever. 3 ways to catch it.
At the sign of the cat.
Well, something that Edwards does so well, he comes out, takes the angle away. Look at that, he's out there about 20 feet. Not much to shoot at. And it looked like he was slightly shaken up on that Bossy drive.
From the faceoff in the Buffalo zone, the Islanders in possession again, winning the draw. Trottier centered it in the crease. Edwards knocks it away, and here's Dudley coming out. He's hitting center, going up across the line, dropping it for Ramsey. Into Don Loose, back of the net. Dudley upended, went flying into the boards, and I think he's hurt himself. Dudley getting up slowly back there. Now the play is called with Sutter breaking in for the net. There's Dudley down to our left, and he had difficulty. Let me tell you, Gary, he lost his stick. He was upended, went flying into the boards, and you could tell immediately he had injured himself. But gamely, he tried to get up and get off the ice and couldn't quite make it.
Well, he flew right into the boards. I don't know if it's his knee, Bob, but he did hit the end boards with a lot of velocity. Frank Christie, trainer, is out there right now, and he's back on his feet. All right, let's have a look at Dudley. There he loses his balance and flies into the boards, and actually his right foot, his right skate took the brunt of that hit into the boards. And you know, when you have nothing to cushion, you know how hard those boards are. Not much give, especially at the bottom.
I'll bet you. But I'll tell you, he's staying on there. He's not leaving. Now he's starting over toward the bench. He just moved around a little bit, and he's going off. But I think he's okay. Mike Ramsey goes back of the net for Buffalo. Islanders 3. Buffalo Sabres 1. Nearing the 5-minute mark of the third period. And here comes Sealing going in with Ramsey. Craig Ramsey into the corner, still after it. It comes loose for John Luce. And he couldn't get his shot on the net from that angle. Luce again gets it near the line, and Sutter broke it up with Gillies. In for Sutter. Sutter breaking for the net on a sharp angle. Feeds it in front, and Luce intercepted. Sealing trying to move it out of the zone for Buffalo. He can't do it on the first try. He does on the second, but it goes too far down the ice. Ken Morrow touching it for the New York Islanders, and the Sabres are called for icing. We might tell you they're in the third period at Philadelphia, and the amazing North Stars are leading the Philadelphia Flyers 5-4. And any further scoring, of course, we'll be going down there to show you those scoring highlights from the Spectrum in Philadelphia. Here it's 3-1, New York.
Well, the Islanders continue to forecheck well and also pinch in those defensemen. And what that means when the Sabres have their wingers so high, what they have to do is get them in a little deeper. The hash marks there, the face-off circle, then a defenseman can't pinch in on them. But they're having a little problem coming out along the boards. They're having an easy time of it up the middle, but not along the boards.
Hero with Martin to his left. The draw goes to the line. Lane took a shot. It hit a leg, and Sealing gets away with Martin. Martin breaking in front, right in the slot. Shoot! Oh, a beautiful save by Billy Smith on Martin. Back for Sutter now. He's done a solo job. Nobody with him. Sutter breaking for the net. He centered it, and Van Boxmeer takes him in on the board. Schoenfeld ahead to Perreault. Perreault sliced one down the ice, and it stopped inside the line. Action picking up again now as the Sabres come to life. But Nystrom right back in for New York. Schoenfeld all over him. It goes back of the net. Trottier going in after Sealing and gives him a ride on the board. Van Boxmeer can't get it loose, and they call it for a face-off. This is Stanley Cup 80 from the Auditorium in Buffalo.
I'm into having some fun, you see. Good times for you, you and me. Let's break away for the good times. Good times feeling free. Breaking away to Canadian. Breaking away to the good times.
Well, Gary, I think I've seen enough. This Billy Smith has shown me that I don't know if our friend Chico Resch is going to get back into the series.
That was the save of the night right there. This next goal is going to be so important as time runs out.
14:33 remaining in regulation time. Islanders lead it 3-1. Sealing on the board. Bourne trapped him right away. It comes loose to the line. Potvin couldn't shoot it, and covering up is Bob Lorimer. He played it ahead. There's Potvin stopping it near the blue line. Picks his way through center. Potvin finds a hole, going in for the shot, and Edwards made a good glove save on that shot by Potvin. Two Sabres break in. One man back. Smith gets the play right back in front, and it went by him under his stick. McKegney hammered on the boards, can't move on it. And Gare, who fed that pass, holds it along with Potvin, and there's no further play.
Well, there's a good indication right there. Gare, you know, he scored 56 goals because he shot the puck. He wanted to make that extra pass, and it went astray. He was at the top of the circle, a perfect position to shoot at. Why not fire it?
Tell you, Gary, he fooled me completely. I thought he was about to let it go, but he didn't. He fed it back.
Bob, he has such a good wrist shot, a snap shot, and he knows where it's going. It's low, usually on the corners. And by golly, when you get an opportunity like that, let him go. Then that second man can go for the net.
Well, the fans, as you can hear in the background, chanting, they're trying now to get some scoring from their Sabres. Morrow goes back of the net. Left it in the corner. Martin racing it after it. He centered it. It hit a skate. It's Sealing taking a shot and was blocked. Van Boxmeer near the line, keeping it in. There's Martin back of the net. Great pressure now by Buffalo. Sealing again. Gets it back to Schoenfeld. And the shot is low and wide. Now it's centered. It went off his skate. Away from Martin. And the Islanders regroup, get their composure, and get it up to center ice again. But the Sabres lay it on. Here's Perreault stealing it with Martin. They come back in. Martin is bodied off the puck, and it's cleared off the boards into the center ice area. Merrick finding Stanley down the left side. He took a weak shot. Nystrom has it now, centered it. And here's Martin over for Dudley. As you can see, he's okay after that minor injury. Up to Martin. In over the line, he dropped it on the right side, and Van Boxmeer is after it. Centered it, and Nystrom speeds out. One man back, he's coming in with Tonelli. And Nystrom shooting a high one, rising over the glass into the crowd. Now let's get a report of the Philadelphia-Minnesota game. Here's Dan Kelly at the Spectrum.
Okay. Payne in the corner. Back of the goal to Al McAdam. McAdam in front, a shot, they score! Steve Payne on the power play. And it is 6-4 for Minnesota.
How about that? Minnesota now, Gary, gone ahead over the Philadelphia Flyers at the Spectrum. 6-4. Okay, Dan Kelly, we'll be checking with you any further scoring in that game. Here at Buffalo, it's the Islanders 3 and the Sabres 1. Time running out, but the Sabres coming to life now in this third period. Here's Richie Dunn galloping to center. The long shot blocked by Billy Smith on the blocker. It comes back to Dunn. Dunn couldn't keep it in the center ice area. Bill Height feeds it ahead for Craig Ramsey. Gets it again. Pushed it in across the line in the corner. Langevin around the boards on the other side. Dudley goes back in the net. Centered it. And it's cleared away as Luce tried to shoot it. High into the boards. And again, another whistle. With a score, the New York Islanders 3, the Buffalo Sabres 1. This is Stanley Cup 80.
30, 40, 50. Now, the LWT Series from North Star. Their style is born from function. Built to breathe because your feet breathe. Built to flex because your feet flex. Built light so your feet can fly. Heels that flare, soles that grip on impact. The LWT Series from North Star. Keeping up with your feet.
At the Auditorium in Buffalo, this is Bob Cole with Gary Dornhofer, and the fans are really chanting now. Listen to them.
And players certainly respond to that yelling and screaming. They get the adrenaline going.
Well, they didn't drop that one in fairly. They'll have to do it again. It's deep in the New York zone, as you can see, and the Sabres, Gary, have come to life for the last few minutes in this part of the third period. 12:18 remaining in regulation time. Islanders lead by 2 goals. Buffalo, though, coming on strong. Gillies trying to move it out. Get some help from Goring. It's back inside the line. Langevin on this side for Pearson, ahead to Bossy. Bossy is stopped. Now Smith turning at center ice for Buffalo. Couldn't get away from Gillies. And Gillies just left it at his own line. Langevin across center. Shooting a high one in. Knocked down by Playfair, and he just shoots it down the ice. Going all the way. Icing called against Buffalo. Fans don't like that. Now, another report from the Philadelphia-Minnesota game with Dan Kelly at the Spectrum.
Here's a chance for Holmgren. His shot was blocked by Hartsburg. Drop to Holmgren. Score! Holmgren!
And we're back again here in Buffalo, where it's 3-1. Down there, Steve Payne made it 6-4, and now the Flyers come back on that goal by Holmgren. Thank you, Dan Kelly. And it's 6-5. Well, low-scoring series. How are you? About 8 minutes and 50 seconds left in that game. And it's 6-5. Minnesota on top. Here at the Auditorium in Buffalo. It's 3-1. Islanders. Van Boxmeer back to the net for the Buffalo Sabres. Perreault didn't know he had it. Gives it back to the big defenseman, and here he comes. John Van Boxmeer up to center ice. Van Boxmeer near the line. Shoots it off to the corner, and Gillies is the first one back. Perreault tried to take it from him. Martin went in to help in the corner. That's Lorimer fighting for it. It comes to Nystrom. Nystrom couldn't move it out. In front of the net again, Lorimer spinning around to Nystrom a second time. Out across the line at center. Nystrom shoots it into the Buffalo zone. 11 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the third period of this game. Martin back in his own zone to Perreault. Islanders send two in deep. And you can see the trouble Sabres are having against that forechecking. Martin has to go back deep again. In the corner. He leaves it there. Then Boxmeer will bring it out, though. Down with Perreault, a good pass. Perreault up across the line. On the boards, it goes to Sealing. Sealing gets it back to Perreault. And a shot knocked down to Martin. And Martin couldn't knock it in by Billy Smith with Fallen. Close call. At center ice, Schoenfeld again. Sabres keep coming at the Islanders. They want another goal to make it close. And then we'll see what'll happen. It's Van Boxmeer breaking in. He's stopped on the play. Right out in front it comes Van Boxmeer. Another shot. Down goes Billy Smith, and he stopped that one off Derek Smith of Buffalo from 15 feet. Islanders get to center. Here's Howard bringing it in with Trottier. He took a weak shot, kicked away by Edwards. And it's grabbed by Sealing. A pass comes to Derek Smith. Here he comes, in with Martin. And the shot is blocked. Derek Smith and Martin. Martin couldn't get it. Morrow knocked it away from him. Now it's Gord Lane. Ahead to Nystrom. Can't get out. Gord Lane goes back at the net. The Sabres are fighting for their lives. It's centered right to the crease. And it's stopped by Billy Smith and cleared into the corner again. Howard trying to clear it down the ice. He does. Trottier racing after it. He tried to break in front. The Islanders now changing as the play is allowed to continue. And the Sabres shoot it to center, but Gordy Lane rolled it back and over the line. Here's Richie Dunn. Feeds a pass down the ice. That'll go too far. It'll be icing against the Buffalo Sabres. Stanley Cup 80 will continue in a moment.
Well, a second mortgage would do the job, but it's not really to your advantage.
Your money. Scotiabank has people that can help you handle it. People who understand your needs. Scotiabank experience. Take advantage of it. Because today, your money needs all the help it can get. Scotiabank. Everything you need.
You know, I never would have thought of that.
This is Bob Cole along with Gary Dornhofer at the Auditorium in Buffalo in Game 1 of the semifinal series. The Islanders 3 and the Sabres 1. In Philadelphia, it's 6-5. The North Stars on top of the Flyers, and they too are in the third period. We'll be showing you scoring highlights, of course, as we have been doing throughout this game from Philadelphia. Here in Buffalo, the Sabres trying to get it going. Dudley racing out of the zone, gets to center. Dudley up across the line, dropped it back near the line, and Perreault speeds in. Perreault watched by Sutter. It comes in front of Dudley, but he couldn't capitalize. And back to center for Tonelli. He played it in to Sutter, into the corner to Tonelli. He scores! Tonelli beautifully in front of the net, set up, and he hit the low left-hand side. And Gary, when it's 4-1 this late in a game, that could be it for the Buffalo Sabres in Game 1.
That may just do it, but real good passing play. The Sabres, they were caught here. Man in the open, nobody picks them up. You notice before Sutter had a little eye to see who was coming. Tonelli, there he is, left all alone. And boy, has he taken charge for this Islander team. A little snapshot in the far corner. That was his 6th playoff goal, and he's taken over from the injured Culler. And boy, has he been an addition.
That scoring play, Tonelli from Sutter at 11 minutes and 10 seconds of this third period. And it's now the New York Islanders 4 and the Buffalo Sabres 1. I've got a little message for the Sabres and the Philadelphia Flyers, who are both trailing in this first game now. In 11 of the 12 series so far this year in Stanley Cup play, Gary, the team that won the first game won the series. Do you believe in that stuff?
Well, it's not over by a long shot, but the Islanders certainly heading in the right direction. And yet they've given up so many scoring chances in their own zone.
Gillies played it ahead and nearly set up another one for Butch Goring. He was in behind everyone. But Schoenfeld The only one back, picks it up and leaves it back at the net. Van Boxmeer spinning around. Bossy coming in to watch him. The pass to the right side. Islanders forechecking again, but here comes Van Boxmeer out of the zone. Coming in is McKegney, offside. McKegney tried to bring it in. He missed it actually at the blue line, and Van Boxmeer was speeding in on the right side, and he was offside. He's played a good game.
Well, the goal that really did the Sabres in tonight has to be this one. Sutter there, he took a little peek. You notice two Sabres going in at one man, and that left Stanley all by himself. All it takes is one man to check another. You see your partner going in, what you have to do is look around for the open man. The Sabres failed to do this.
Smith for Buffalo. Shooting it into the New York zone. Back to the net, that's Gordy Lane for Gillies. Up to the line, and Gording was stopped. Lane will try it again. McKegney watched him. He got it across the line. Gillies couldn't move it. Again, Gordy Lane. This time McKegney took it away from him. Gare fell to the ice, and Clark Gillies, a long pass down into the Buffalo zone. Schoenfeld is back. Islanders 4, the Sabres 1. Nearing the 13-minute mark of the third period. The Buffalo Sabres are changing now as the play goes in behind the New York net. It's knocked down in front by Potvin, but Trottier was there to clear it for Bossy. Bossy up near the line. He has to wait now for Bourne to come back on side. He had gone in. Lorimer from center lifts a high one in. It bounces in front, and Edwards stops it for Height. Now, with 7 minutes remaining in the third period, Martin is winding up in his own zone. Got it away from Trottier on the boards, but Bourne was there first. For Lorimer. Lorimer at center, shooting it in. And the Sabres running out of time. Bill Height back of the net. Height coming out. The pass on the boards to center to Martin. Martin tucks it in behind the defenseman, but Billy Smith was alert. He came out and cleared it away. Trottier comes back to center, going in with Nystrom behind him. He nearly got in by everyone. Playfair stopped him. Now Nystrom has it. Nystrom on the board, pinned there by Richie Dunn. McClanahan turns on that far side and just shoots it down the ice. New York Islanders leading by 3 goals now in this third period with 6:15 remaining. Coming in is Tonelli again. In back of the net he goes. He's slammed on the boards. Hard check. Tonelli again out front. Oh, and a good save by Edwards. Back for the Sabres. Dudley going in with Luce. Don Luce breaks for the net. Centered one. And it went by in front of Billy Smith harmlessly. Now Dudley slapped at it. And 3 Islanders break out of the zone. Led by Sutter. Up over the line with Merrick. Couldn't pass it back, so he put it in on the net. And Edwards had little difficulty hanging on to that one.
Well, when somebody does a lot of damage to you, you'd like to certainly get even. Playfair, pretty big fellow. Here's the way to take a man out. Rides him. Poor Tonelli. You could see the boards, the glass, everything shake on that one. But Tonelli, he got up right away and ready to play.
We have, Gary, 5:45 left of the third period.
And you know, there's less than 4 minutes left to go in Philadelphia.
Here's Tonelli trying to pass it back. He was stopped by Don Luce. Dudley went after him. Tonelli staying with it. Merrick in to help him now. Merrick holding it with a skate. They'll likely get another whistle this time. There's the whistle. They call the play. Live from the Auditorium in Buffalo, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Canadian Tire has the tires you need. Radial tires, snow tires, off-road tires, small tires, truck tires, tractor tires. We made our name selling quality tires at sensible prices, backed by our 5-year road hazard warranty. We can fit just about every kind of car or truck with the right tire at the right price.
We can do it. It's for people like you. Canadian Tire.
Bob Cole and Gary Dornhofer in Game 1 of this semifinal series at the Auditorium in Buffalo, where the Islanders are up by 3 goals here in the third period, 4-1. With 5.5 minutes left in the third period, it's cleared right in. Billy Smith knocked it away. Morrow Beats it out in front of the line. And it's Bossy coming across center. Bossy breaking in, centered it, and he nearly hit Goring with that pass, with Goring coming in on the right wing. Just out of his reach. Schoenfeld, a long shot in on the boards. Sealing brings it in close, took a high shot. Smith stopped that, and Gillies is on it right away for New York. Stick handles out of the zone away from Richard Martin. Now to Bossy. Bossy, a nice head fake. Then the Sabres grab it, led by Martin. The pass to the line. Sealing on the other wing. Van Boxmeer, the defenseman, rushing once again. Van Boxmeer slapped it over on this side. Off the corner. It's down across center again, and Nystrom missed it. Martin from center ice shoots one in with 4.5 minutes remaining in the third period. That's Gordy Lane. Starting out, his pass goes on the boards. It'll go for icing. If it hits that line, it does not. So icing not called. Play continues. It comes to the line. Smith dropping back inside his own blue line. Coming up to center. He goes in. Smith making great moves. Now he's pulled around. And yes, there's going to be a New York penalty. Here's Van Boxmeer taking a shot up high on the glass. And now it's called. The penalty against the New York Islanders. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Auditorium in Buffalo.
If your lawn's a jungle, your string trimmer better be a home light. Gas-powered to outwork, outreach, and outmaneuver any electric. To cut a wider swath and advance cutting string automatically at a trigger's touch. The Homelight gasoline string trimmer, and only 7¼ pounds. King of the jungle. So advanced, it can only be a Homelight.
Well, Gary, with time running out, 3:57 left in the third period, the Islanders, Trottier gets a hooking penalty. There he is.
Well, when we look back to that 5-minute major that the Buffalo Sabres had with that 1-0 lead, Bob, does that ever look big now?
Doesn't it? And then on top of it, giving up a shorthanded goal by Bourne in that 5-minute span. That just about killed him. Buffalo coming in now. The shot went wide in front of Billy Smith. The Sabres with a man advantage. It comes to center, and Henning is breaking in. Henning couldn't get through the defense. And McKegney feeds it back of his own net. Here's Richie Dunn. Starting out in front of the net for Buffalo with 3.5 minutes remaining in the third period. Dunn, a high shot in on the glass. McKegney coming in after it. Gare trying to get a stick near it. Dunn helping him. It's grabbed by Lorimer. Couldn't move it out. Gare centers it. But the Islanders covering up. Butch Goring just put it on the boards back into the Buffalo zone. 1 minute and 10 seconds left in the penalty to Trottier. 3:05 left in the third period of this game. The Islanders leading 4-1. Let's now go to Philadelphia and Dan Kelly at the Spectrum.
Players have called their 32nd timeout.
Well, Pat Quinn's trying to work out some offensive play. The Minnesota players are coaching themselves. They're standing out of the face-off circle waiting for the Philadelphia players to return after their 32nd timeout, and they can't discuss much. At least Minnesota cannot. They have to stand there, catch their breath, just go over what they have to do defensively, which is just standard defensive play when a team is attacking, and hope that they can hold the Flyers. The Flyers, on the other hand, are probably trying to work out some specific play on the face-off because Bobby Clark can usually control the draws. They're going to try and make one play, get somebody open, and try for a good shot on net. However, if Minnesota wins the face-off, all is for naught because Pat Quinn's play will definitely not work.
6-5, Minnesota leading with 32 seconds left. Gary Edwards, the North Star goaltender, took over at the start of the second period. North Stars have Smear and Maxwell on defense. Sharpley, Kolich, and McCarthy up front. Flyers are going to have Clark, who is still coming back over towards the Flyer bench to get some instructions.
This whole thing will hinge on the face-off, and if Minnesota wins the face-off, watch for one of their defensemen going back and just rifling the puck around the boards as hard as he can, trying to get it out of the zone. It's so congested up the middle that it's suicide to try and make a pass. Sharpley is going to take the face-off against Clark. And
Leach and Linsman will be the trigger men. They are back to the left side, back of Clark. 32 seconds left in regulation time. Minnesota leading 6-5. Sharpley against Clark. It's to the left of the North Star goal. Sharpley gets the draw, cleared it back of the net, but here's Holmgren centering one. Daly a poke at it. Edwards sprawled and stopped it and held on to it. And we still have 26 seconds left and another face-off coming up in the Minnesota zone.
Well, I'm not quite sure that that's what the Flyers had in mind. They had a good scoring chance. Clark was trying to pull the puck back, but watch Paul Holmgren shoot off the line here. He shoots off the line before he knows where the puck is going, and I think they probably send Holmgren into the corner. He comes around here. Big Bob Daly tries to jam it in, but Edwards is there once again. I think they try and send Holmgren intentionally into the corner in the event that Bobby Clark loses the face-off. They want a big, strong, aggressive guy in there trying to dig the puck out. So they're trying to provide for every situation, winning and losing the face-off.
This time the face-off to the right of the Minnesota goal. Sharpley over to get some instructions at the Minnesota bench. He'll take it for the North Stars against Clark. This time McLeish is the trigger man. Back to the right of Bobby Clark near the blue line. Sharpley against Clark, 26 seconds left. 6-5, Minnesota leading. Puck drop, Sharpley gets the draw again, and Hartsburg cleared it down the ice. Will it go all the way and be icing? And McLeish gets to it just as it crossed the line, and another icing call with 18 seconds now remaining. Hartsburg, no doubt, was hoping it wouldn't go all the way, but it just did.
Well, the Minnesota players aren't arguing the call, but it looked real close from here. Both Polish and McCarthy raced down the ice trying to beat the Flyer player back to it so that it wouldn't be an icing call, and they weren't arguing, so it was an icing call, obviously.
Again, Clark against Sharpley, 18 seconds remaining. Flyers get it. Leach couldn't get the shot, and Minnesota is able to poke at the center, then McCarthy is knocked down. Flyers, Holmgren clearing one. Over on right wing to Leach, who shoots it in. 5 seconds left. Edwards cleared it off the boards. Loose in the corner. Schmier cleared it out. The game is over. And the Minnesota North Stars walk into the Spectrum in Philadelphia and knock off the Flyers 6.
Okay, that's the final down there now. Great excitement, and here, time running out. It's still Islanders 4 and the Buffalo Sabres 1 here at the Auditorium in Buffalo. You see now the New York Islanders with a man advantage as Van Boxmeer is off for tripping. He has 25 seconds left in his penalty. It's 4-1, the New York Islanders. Winding up this game, Gary Dornhofer, just 27 seconds left in the third period. You'd have to say they had a good game plan, took advantage of the breaks, and certainly they did get some early breaks, and they have come through.
Well, the building is almost empty here. A few thousand people. The end, but it was capitalization on your chances. The Sabres weren't able to do that, and we look back at the penalty when the Islanders ended up scoring the only goal. That certainly hurt. And just back to the drawing board and get ready for the next one. That's about all the Sabres can do right now.
Only scoring here in the third period, John Tonelli from center at 11:10, the fourth New York Islanders goal. The Sabres scored the first of the hockey game. Rick Dudley from Ramsey at 5:23 of the opening period, but it's been all New York since. As Gary just mentioned, the Bob Bourne unassisted goal. While shorthanded, then Bossy picking up a loose pass from Height inside the line. Then Tonelli, his 2 goals. Second here in the third. 7 seconds left. The countdown started on the island in New York. No question about that. Islanders 4, the Sabres 1. In game 1 of the semifinal series, Billy Smith, a standout in goal, made some big saves. He had some breaks, yes, but he did come up with some big saves in the net for the Islanders tonight. And they got enough action up front from people like Tonelli, Bourne, and of course, Mike Bossy. Final score, the Islanders 4 and the Sabres 1. And in just a moment, our 3-star selection.
All of these oils were independently tested for the same thing, permanent viscosity breakdown. And while all of them are good oils that meet or exceed SE standards, only one of them showed no permanent viscosity breakdown, no permanent thinning out at all. Our oil. New Castrol GTX 10W30. In the final analysis, it doesn't break down.
Go, lady, go, lady, go.
The new Go Dryer from Canadian General Electric goes anywhere. Compact with a fold-up handle, 2 heat speeds, 1,200 watts of fast hair drying power.
Go dryer, go.
And now get curls to go. Get the CGE Pro Curler with fast heat up and safe cool tip.
Go curler, go.
The Go Dryer and Go Curler, both with convenient dual voltage. New from Canadian General Electric.
The New York Islanders rather handy winners on the scoreboard 4-1 to take game 1 of this semifinal series. The first star, Billy Smith, who made many great saves and was especially tough in that first period when Buffalo had most of the good Sabres' chances. Star number 2, John Tonelli, with 2 goals, the third and fourth New York Islander goals. And the Islander defense played well, all 6 of them all night. The best we thought was Ken Morrow, the U.S. Olympic team graduate. The stars Smith, Tonelli, and Morrow will return in just a moment.
It's here, now, from Everready, the Energizer, energy source of the 80s. To drive, to power, to energize the new world around you. A remarkable world of electronic devices, a world that needs all the energy of the Energizer, energy source of the 80s. Look, when ordinary carbon batteries are dead and gone, the Energizer lives on. In toys like this, the C-size Energizer runs 790% as long as ordinary batteries. 790%. For this new electronic world, the Energizer, energy source of the 80s, from Everready.
The Energizer, energize for life.
Longer life.
Can a 1980 Ford LTD priced about $8,300 ride as quietly as a $93,000 Rolls-Royce? Both were tested under identical conditions, over smooth roads, over rough roads, at 40, 50, and 90 kilometers per hour. LTD rode just as quietly as the Rolls-Royce. And compared to last year's fuel economy rating, the 1980 LTD is 14% better. Ford LTD, quality that quietly speaks for itself.
No 60-minute game can be fully explained by talking about one 5-minute stretch, but a lot of what went on tonight, we can talk about the 5-minute period in which the Buffalo Sabres had a man advantage, could not score, and the New York Islanders, in fact, scored while shorthanded. The goal by Bob Bourne, which tied the game. Then the giveaway height to Mike Bossy made it 2-1 for the Islanders. Islanders were in front thereafter. Some good saves by Billy Smith, some hard checking by the Islanders to protect that lead, and the Islanders are in front. 1-0, and game number 2 we will have for you on Hockey Night in Canada Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, the Islanders in Buffalo. Good night for Stanley Cup 80. Live on CBC, Hockey Night in Canada, brought to you by Molson, Canada's name in beer since 1786. Brewers of Molson Canadian Lager Beer. Canadian General Electric, progress for people since 1882. Canadian Tire Dealers with 320 stores to serve you across Canada. And by the Ford Motor Company in Canada, on behalf of your Ford and Mercury dealers from coast to coast.
This program is protected by copyright and is intended solely for the entertainment and enjoyment of the viewing audience. Reproduction by any means, in whole or in part, without the express written permission of Hockey Night in Canada is prohibited.
is CBC.
What's it take to brew a great light beer?
Join the movement to light.
It takes calm, unhurried patience to brew Bradol, so take the time to appreciate it. Bradol from Molson. Take the time.
The proceeding has been a special presentation of ICENET, the Islanders Championship Entertainment Network.
National Security Brokerage is Long Island's community insurance brokerage, serving Long Island since 1982. We're the place to go for the best in home, auto, boat, cycle, and business insurance. Our experienced staff has over 40 years in the business, and we're also proud Long Islanders looking to bring you the best and most affordable coverage you can find. At National Security Brokerage, our clients are number one, and we promise you will always get the very best coverage tailored for your needs. We understand living on Long Island because we do too. We're all Islanders, and if you want Long Island's best team for insurance, go for National Security Brokerage. You'll feel secure with National Security Brokerage. Let's go Islanders!